Oh shit. We're Alex. We're live. Get up. Get up.
What?
We're live. We're live.
What do you mean we're live? Oh, what?
Hello. All right.
What?
Hey everybody. Sorry about that. Running a little late here. All right. Are you ready? We're talking about Star Trek TOS. You know the show we watched.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys if you're here on the stream with us. Tonight's going to be an exciting night. We're going to be giving our final thoughts here and doing a Q&A. So one more thing is different. We're actually not alone here tonight, guys. We got someone along with us here for the first time on a live stream. We got Steve from Open Maw Productions. I'm going to throw it over to him to introduce himself for a second. Steve, how you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, Josh. Alex, thank you for having me here tonight. And in the immortal words of Tom Cruise, it is an honor and a privilege to be with you tonight. So we're going to have a good time.
Cool. All right, well, we're going to be jumping right into it, guys, because we got a lot to cover. Just to give you guys a little preview of how we're going to be doing this, we're going to start off just open discussion between us and Steve, just in terms of Star Trek TOS as the show, touch on TAS a little bit too, the 4 movies that we watched, just our whole journey thus far, a little discussion. And then once we're done with the general discussion, we'll jump into the Q&A. So we'll do our patrons' questions first. We have a lineup of those, and then we'll open it up to a live Q&A to the chat. But if you want your question answered at any point during this stream right away, just do it through Super Chat so we can see it, and then we'll answer those right on the spot regardless of where we're at. So we actually got our first one right here from T Perfect. Thank you, T Perfect. Interesting enough, Star Trek V is the 3rd worst movie next to Nemesis and Insurrection. Also, TNG from season 3 on is the greatest show ever made. Thank you for that. Not a question, so we're off to a rocky start here, but thank you for the donation. Appreciate that. You guys can throw those in too, but if you want a question answered, you can throw that in there. Did I give you enough time to wake up? Are you awake now, ready to go?
Yeah, what are we doing here?
All right, Steve, you can go ahead and just jump into it with your first point of discussion here for the general.
Well, actually, I'm being told here I'm a little bit too quiet, so I'm going to adjust my thingamajig here. I don't want to blow you guys out, but am I better, audience? I'm going to give me the thumbs up there. Am I a little bit more?
Let's wait for the thumbs up here.
You guys have no idea what you're doing.
I know, right? Professional operation.
Someone give us a thumbs up in the chat if you can hear Steve clearly. Steve, you want to talk again?
Hello. I just read the next super chat. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
All right, I boosted you a little bit on my side as well, so we should be good. And we got our first question from Scott Marish. Shatner couldn't make it.
He's in a convention in Wyoming for $150. I thought about flying in and being like, "Hey, I have this YouTube channel. All right, next." But
Time's up.
Let's go. But no, he couldn't be here.
Guys, get a life.
All right. Now for real, let's go ahead and start. Steve, go ahead with your first discussion point here.
Well, actually, the first thing I wanted to bring up was why. Why are we watching Star Trek the way we're watching it? What's the big mystery there? Because it does come up a lot in the discussions, both on Patreon and in the YouTube comments. So why don't you guys talk about that? Why did you choose to do it the way you're doing it?
Well, I'll let Alex start first because this was his idea.
Well, if I'm gonna recommend Star Wars to someone, I'm not gonna have them start with the Phantom Menace, per se, as no one should start off like that. So, I mean, the whole idea is to watch it in the way that it came out, that it was released, that probably most people have watched it, those who were around in the 60s, and then now with TNG, those who were around in the 80s, and just experience it how it was experienced. That's the whole idea. Just like to put ourselves in the shoes of the people that were there when it first came out, to experience it as much as we can to those who saw everything as it came out.
No, that's a good point. There are certainly on rewatches different ways to go about it. And I think that's probably where the disconnect is. There's a lot of Star Trek fans who have seen everything 500 times. They will watch it. They'll watch the original series in production order because in production order there's a different vibe, especially early on. You get kind of a progression of design and character and things like that. But no, I think you guys have the right idea. I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. I would say it's going to be very interesting when you guys get to later TNG, DS9, and Voyager, because those are all concurrent. So you like you can
Yeah.
be jumping back and forth, or like that's gonna be an interesting time.
Yeah, that's all on me, and I'll figure it out. We actually had a nice, really generous patron send us a whole spreadsheet of every episode and movie in the air date order, so we already got ready to go. Just got to reference the sheet, and yeah, we will overlap, and once we get there, but this is all years down the line. The world could be destroyed by then, so we don't think about it too much. But
Yeah,
You never know.
someone brought up saying, "Oh, like after Space Seed, you guys should watch Wrath of Khan and go back." And I thought that must, after watching Wrath of Khan and then thinking like that would be the most dumb, how, to go from a season 1 episode of TOS to the second movie
a lot of people do it, yeah.
and then back. It's like,
Yeah.
doesn't that add more weight to more because there's more time in between when you like whatever. I'm going off my soapbox here.
Yeah, Alex is gonna have a lot. Of, if you're a fan, if you're a returning viewer of our live streams, this is where Alex goes on his rants, the famous Assignment Earth rant, and many others have happened on these streams. So
Oh,
it's gonna be a good time.
Yeah, uncut.
But yeah, that's why we started it that way. And honestly, we wanted to. Alex's original idea was to watch TNG, and we thought we have to go to the start and see what it's like. I don't know if we right then knew we planned to watch every single episode of TOS, but I think after watching The Man Trap, we were both just kind of like, oh, well, this is awesome. We have to watch this.
So this is why this is a thing. Like Star Trek has always been around in our lives at some point, but we've never watched it. It's been referenced in every single piece of pop culture that possibly can. But growing up, I was more into Star Wars. I'm guessing you were as well. And like no one ever sat me down and said, "Hey, check this out."
Yeah.
So it wasn't until I discovered Red Letter Media and their discussions about Star Trek, I'm like, "Oh, I want to check out Star Trek." And now here we are.
That's actually a question that I have for you, Alex. I know we don't want to go near TNG, but it is a question that's been on my mind since you started TNG. Did you see Mike and Rich's discussion on season 1?
Yes, but I don't remember any of it because I would just have their videos playing in the background sometimes. I remember more of their Picard discussions, so I do know some spoilers there. I mean, I think in the back of my mind there might be some TNG spoilers because I think I watched all of them, but that was like a few years ago. So I try to erase those from my brain.
Yeah, I think.
Well, you won't be getting to Picard until 2035, so
Yeah, it's true.
we got some
Yeah, yeah.
time.
And we'll be dead by then. So.
And if anyone knows anything about us, we can't even remember what we just watched when we discuss it afterwards. So some YouTube videos from a few years ago, I'm sure we probably don't have much memory of. Yeah, same thing for me though. Star Trek, I never had any. I mean, obviously I knew what it was my entire life. Never had anybody introduce it to me. Anybody even recommend it. I just knew it was a thing that existed. And that was it. It was just, it's so weird that there's this franchise none of us have seen. There's other ones too, of course, but there's a lot of them out there that Alex has seen that I haven't, and vice versa. So it was nice to be able to find this that we both are a pretty clean slate.
Well, and it is a vast piece of media. Just for the sake of scope, the period that you guys are walking into is 18 years long, and it has 25 seasons and 6 movies left. So it's not a going steady relationship. It's a marriage. It's a long commitment. So I admire you guys for taking it on. Most of the YouTube channels that I've seen that take this on, they take it on like they watch the top 10 TOS episodes, and they watch the movies, then they go to TNG. They don't watch all of it because it's a lot. I mean, it's like when Josh and I were talking about it a week ago. 2 years to get through TNG if you keep up the pace on it. I mean, it's a long time. But
Job security.
exactly, yeah, and
I did want to just we did get another super chat, so I want to address it. Scott Marish, another $2. Thank you, Scott. Hey, Assignment Earth kicked ass. Go ahead, Alex.
You don't need to address that one. That's fine. Yeah, I love seeing Spock and Kirk in regular clothes, and there's a cat, so you get some points for that. That's it.
I think he accidentally, it was an autocorrect. He meant to put an equal sign. Assignment Earth equaled ass, but it autocorrected to kick ass.
Oh yeah. Sorry, Scott. Another $2. I'll fix it.
Nah, but obviously,
Thanks, Scott. Thank you.
thank you. And obviously, we understand all the episodes we don't like. There's people that love all the episodes we love. There's people that are so confused as to how we like them. So totally get that. But yeah, go ahead, Steve, with your next point.
well, there's that kind of raises a point too. The pop culture thing is the odd movies suck, the even movies rock, and as you guys have already discovered, that rule does not apply when you actually watch the movies. Everybody has their own tastes, and that's going to lead to different trains of thought. It depends on what you want. That's one of the cool things about Star Trek is it has so many different kinds of stories. You want comedy, there's comedy. You want action, there's action. I mean, it's got every kind of genre in it at one point or another.
Yeah,
There's
for sure.
war, there's all kinds of stuff. So
Yeah,
what you find appealing is what your tastes are going to be catered to. And I was in an argument with somebody about a piece of the action the other day, and they were saying Star Trek isn't supposed to be funny. And I was like, the hell it isn't. Like, that's one of my
Yeah.
favorite episodes of TOS is a piece of the action. Spocko, like, come on.
Yeah,
But
that's the one thing I praised about the movies is that how different they all are. How one and how some people don't like someone like the others. I think that's great. If they were all the same and everyone loved them equally, that'd be super boring. But the fact that I can look at each one and depending what mood I'm in, I can enjoy all of them to some degree is fantastic. Like if they were all just an action thriller, that'd be quite boring. But the fact that they're all different movies is so unique.
Yeah, I want to address real quick. We had an extremely generous super chat from Witcher Joker, so I just want to read that now. He said, "Just wanted to say how special it is to see you guys fall in love with the characters that were so important to so many of us throughout our lives. You bring happiness to many. Keep it up, my friends. Live long and prosper." Thank you very much, Witcher Joker. Really appreciate that. Appreciate you modding the chat for us as well. Pedro with a super chat, no question though, but thank you, Pedro. And then we got CJ Santa with a super chat. What do you guys feel about the fact the motion picture is basically a repackaging of the episode The Changeling? I always felt TMP was brought down by it. I want to phrase this question first, Alex, to you like this. Do you remember what The Changeling is?
I think is that yes, that's the one where it was another same thing as like a thing sent from Earth, found later on and attached to something very similar to the plot.
Yeah, I just remember it was the robot that came aboard. Yeah, I don't even remember that much. I think Spock mind melds with the robot, and then we didn't care for it. I don't think that much.
Yeah, probably.
But
that's
in terms
the one
of
where Uhura loses all her memory and then magically she's okay at the end.
I think we made
she has re-educated, and that's fine. Yeah.
Yeah,
They don't restore it at the end.
yeah, I will say for me, Alex likes TMP more than me. I do like it as well. I think the best thing about it though is the visual, how visually impressive it is, and how much it jumps into the sci-fi elements. The show just didn't have the budget to do that. So even though it has a similar story, I think it works much better in TMP because it has the budget to just be visually stunning. We watched it on 4K; it looked amazing. So that's why I think it was much better in our reaction, how we took it.
Yeah, it's almost like they realized that it's almost a remake of another story, so we're really gonna, shove down their throats how good this looks. Like look at this, look at the Enterprise in the space dock. See it? See it there? Look,
Yeah.
look at that. All right, I see it. Yeah, look at that. All right, but that's okay. I loved the motion picture.
That was Gene's kind of number one goal, was to make it real, make Star Trek realer than it had ever been before, especially for the fans. I mean, you think about it, the generation of people that grew up with TOS were 10 years older
Yeah.
when TMP hit screens. So they had been dedicated for a long time. And yeah, that actually kind of brings me into kind of the first major point we were supposed to talk about. We've kind of danced a little bit, but that's all right. The origins of Star Trek. Where did it come from? What inspired Star Trek? And you guys have already watched. I think it was for your 50, maybe your 200
500 Forbidden
Patreon.
Planet.
Yeah, your Forbidden Planet reaction. That was kind of the big movie that inspired Gene Roddenberry to make Star Trek, and it's pretty obvious when you look at it. A lot of the little pieces are in there. The DNA of Star Trek is in
Yeah,
there.
that's one of those movies that get commented all the time. You guys gotta check out Forbidden Planet. We did. Look it up on the channel. It's there. We watched it. 500 subscriber special. We were still in the first season of TOS. We had not watched much of it at all. But we could already even tell watching Forbidden Planet the Star Trek vibes from it. I thought Forbidden Planet was okay. I thought it was decent.
Is that the first time we watched together? That
Like
movie?
in person,
Yeah,
yeah, first
yeah.
in person thing.
Yeah. I thought it was fine. I just thought at the end, it got a bit like a bit exposition-y. Like I think everything leading up to that, but at the end, it just felt like it wouldn't end.
Yeah, well, like every movie back then's like, we don't have the budget to show you. Let me explain the whole movie. That's just like every movie from back then for the most part.
Yeah, might have to revisit that one. It's been a while.
Yeah, I own it on Blu-ray now, so I'll definitely check it out.
Second time watching.
Yeah.
That's that's a movie that's very precious to that generation. So the hate comments are coming. So I'm gonna get out of here. You guys can just. But that's a fair point. It is pretty exposition heavy. It's a very talky movie. Which 1950s. There's a lot of movies that are just people in cheap-looking labs talking endlessly about science gobbledygook just because they don't have the money to show you anything. Oh, look, it's a paper mache monster. That's about all they can do.
For its time, though, there were some pretty impressive, special effects, and the sets look great and everything. So even for its time that long ago, I think it was a pretty big budget movie for its time. I think I remember someone saying so. For its time, it definitely does look impressive. But at the time, they had to do what they could. So not everything should be shown. They had to tell some, unfortunately. But still enjoyed it.
Which is just kind of like the original Star Trek. I mean, it was one of the most expensive television shows on the air at the time it was released. It was a spendy show. Doesn't look like it today, but like they're using takeout lids and cotton candy and whatever, spraying things and putting it on the wall. Hey, that's a thing.
Yeah.
That's creepily over.
Yeah.
And buy it. Colored lights was one of the things that a lot of the set designers were big on, was different colors of light to indicate, like, is there a power source or something? The one I remember more than any is the guy talking about in the Cloud Minders, there's a piece of wall deco, and it's literally a block of wood spray painted with takeout lids glued on it, and then just hung it on the wall. That's your set decoration.
That's
like,
filmmaking, man. It's filmmaking. Just sometimes something simple and easy, doesn't have to be super crazy, but practical effects, man. Nothing like it.
Yeah, and we got two more super chats here. First one, just a comment from Pedro, another donation. Gotta love your reaction vid. Much love from Brazil. Thank you, Pedro.
Thanks, man.
It's just wild that people watch us in other places.
Yeah, it's weird that anyone does.
I mean, I feel like we're such an acquired taste, even for Americans. For other international viewers, we really appreciate it. It's still really wild to think about. And then we got Sean, who gave a donation, said, "What would each of you be, red, blue, or yellow shirt?"
Ooh, I'm gonna have to be a yellow shirt because I wrestled as Captain Kirk at a Comic-Con-esque type place, and I just got a booking to do it again.
Oh, really?
In Columbus. Woo! Yeah, it's 3 days. I'm gonna be wrestling as Captain Kirk at some event. I can't remember the name of it, but more details. I'm excited. I hate wrestling regularly, but to wrestle as Captain Kirk, hell yeah.
Yeah,
more fun.
That should be fun. Yeah, if you got any more footage of that and you want to post like you did for the last one, for sure. I am gonna go blue just because blue is my favorite color, and I don't want to die, so I'm not gonna go red. So yeah, I'll go blue. What about you, Steve?
Well, I was gonna go red, but my shirt. So red is dead. So
You, you'll survive though.
I guess I'm just dead. So I got vaporized.
Yeah, Picard wears red, right?
Um,
Yeah, if we're talking
they
past TOS, yeah.
they swapped the gold and the red, so the red shirts are actually the gold shirts in TNG. They they meet their demise, unfortunately.
All right.
Um,
We got one more that just came in from Dimitri. Live long and may the force be ever in your favor, Dumbledore. How do you manage to avoid spoilers from YouTube comments or the internet in general? I think we're about to have some ads come in, so we will answer that afterwards, just to make sure everyone sees it. But while the ads are running, for people who have YouTube Premium, which by the way, I mean, I couldn't survive without YouTube Premium in 2023. I don't know. Do you have it?
Yes, I have YouTube Premium, and I've never thought about going back ever. There's been periods where I haven't had a job, and I'm like, I will do whatever it takes, fight tooth and nail to pay for YouTube Premium because I am not going back.
Yeah, I can't.
It goes YouTube Premium, rent, car payment, alimony for my divorce. I'm not divorced.
So my YouTube Premium is on my personal channel.
Yeah,
And so sometimes when I'm on YouTube and just happen to be on the target audience channel, which doesn't have it, and go to watch a video and an ad comes up, I'm like, ah! It's like a jump scare.
Oh yeah, it's like different colored. Sometimes like it's white. Like I opened up YouTube at like on a work browser the other day, and it was like all white. I'm like, oh god, like almost blinded by it.
All right, I think we're probably back from the ads, hopefully. So, yeah. So how do we manage to avoid spoilers from YouTube comments or the internet in general? I'll let you go first.
It's mainly I look at the comments in our videos, and most of our subscribers or commenters are very, good with that. I try not to look up any other Star Trek stuff. I'll watch Red Letter Media videos, and sometimes they'll make a reference to Star Trek. I'm like, what I mean? I'm
It's like in that one episode of Star Trek.
yeah, I'm like, oh yeah, you gotta know. Oh, there was a great gag they had where they were doing a review of the second Indiana Jones film, and as like a gag, Mike pulls out Star Trek: The Motion Picture before we watched it. I'm like, no, because I thought they were gonna do like a switcheroo, but they ended up not talking about it. But I got so scared. But I'm into a few other niche things on YouTube, so my algorithm or subscribe or whatever isn't too much on Star Trek. So I luck out there, and luckily it's not very talked about much. We're with people
In our world.
in our world, really.
Yeah, and we also have some good YouTube mods that clear up the comments for us, so that's always helpful. And our memory is also terrible, so anything we do come across, I do think now that we've seen it, like I am very shocked that we didn't get spoiled for Spock's death. Like that seems like the main thing anyone would spoil, so I'm very surprised that didn't happen.
That's true.
I can't think of anything else though that we've seen thus far that I would have been like, oh, I can't believe no one spoiled this. Like there's not that many huge things really, but it's usually like this will come back in a future episode in 20 years, and it's like I'm not going to remember by that point anyway, so
Yeah.
it doesn't matter.
I knew Kirk had a kid. I think that was spoiled for me in a Red Letter Media video. I think.
You just knew it happened eventually.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. They made an offhand comment about it during, I think, one of their Picard videos. So I'm like, oh, we're not going to watch Picard for another 30 years, so we're okay.
Yeah.
But then
it popped
But every
up.
now and then they'll make a reference to, something we're watching now. I'm like, God damn it.
We got a few more came in here, so I just want to get these in. CJ, another donation, thank you. He said, "Gotta ask more. As Star Trek V is my favorite of the films, I was really looking forward to your guys' reaction. Will you get to it after TNG or during?" So this is a question we've gotten a lot since our Star Trek 4 video. I mean, if you're a fan of our channel, I think you would know this. But for anyone who hasn't heard us say it yet, we are doing strict release order. So in season 2 of TNG, whatever 2 episodes that Star Trek 5 released in theaters between, that's when we'll watch Star Trek 5. Same thing with Star Trek 6. And when shows start to overlap, we'll watch them in their overlapping order. So we're just doing strict release order. I think that's the best way to go.
Yeah, I think that's super interesting. Especially when we get to that point, we're going to bounce back and forth. I think that's going to be really fun.
Yeah, I think with others...
check them off the list.
Yeah, exactly. Other certain things like The Cage that didn't premiere but then premiered at some point on TV during a strike, like weird stuff like that we'll just do whenever. Like we did The Cage as a Patreon, hit a benchmark. But the main canon stuff we're gonna do strict release order. And then Michael Nemo, $20 super chat. Thank you, Michael. Michael's been here a long time here on the channel. I recognize that name from the beginning, so thank you. He says, it's fascinating to see you two watch the franchise in such a concentrated amount of time. I watched literally over 50 years. I wonder how that affects the experience. I was 10 when I saw TMP, and you two were not.
We were not alive.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you say in such a concentrated amount of time,
Like very quickly.
okay, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it does obviously gives us a different perspective. I mean, it'd be the same thing to relate it more to us if like someone never watched the MCU and then they just watched it all in one week.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, so it's the same thing. We'll never know the other side of it though. So this is the only perspective we have.
I think if you did that, your head would end up like the chick in the Kingdom of Crystal Skull. I think you just melt. You tried to watch all of it
Too much.
that quick. Yeah, it's absolutely true though. Frame of time. Like I started watching Star Trek when I was 4 years old. I'm 35 now, so it's been part of my life as long as I can remember. Basically, almost as long as I can speak. In fact, you have the longer uncut version of the motion picture in your VHS clamshell. That's the first piece of
Oh,
Star
yeah.
Trek I saw, which
Oh, okay.
is a different experience than the director's Blu-ray because it actually has shots that are literally not finished. You can see scaffolding from the set where they didn't do the matte painting. It is an unfinished. It's basically a work print in a VHS tape, which is kind of insane to think that a big tentpole movie like that ever got treated like that. But that movie was so late in its production that the film cans, when they were shipped out to the theaters, were still wet from processing. They were like running them into the theaters last minute to get it. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, right.
Three different effects companies worked on that movie.
Yeah, after Star Wars, right? We need to get this out right now. I don't care if it's done.
Exactly. I mean,
Get it
that's
out, get
why
it out.
They made Rabbit for like $5. Like the budget was slashed
Yeah.
for 2 and 3, and it was only because Nimoy did such a good job on 3 that 4 got the money it did. And then we'll get to Star Trek 5
Yeah.
later.
Anything else? I guess we obviously we getting a lot of really generous super chats here, so we've been kind of all over. But TOS wise, just to kind of do final thoughts on that. Obviously, we've done our own videos already. Our favorite episodes, general thoughts, just all of that. But I would just say in general, I mean, I think it's one of my favorite shows of all time.
Yeah, absolutely. Mine too. It's just fascinating because when doing our discussion videos, I would look up the crew members and other stuff they worked on, and the dozens amount of shows I see on there, sci-fi shows or whatever, that I have no idea what they are. And it's like, what? In fact, like Star Trek's the one that's lasted, since the '60s that are still relevant today. It's like all these other ones are just lost to memory. It's crazy. It's like that it worked 3 seasons, and it's like one of the best things ever. It's like what I would love to see, like what did those shows that were not Star Trek that just fell off, like what were they missing? It's like Star Trek is like a perfect storm, lightning in a bottle. It's weird. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I think we get so many comments too, that are like, "Oh, you liked this episode? Check out this show. Check out this movie." And I would really love to, And it's like we're trying to keep a list. If one day we ever, we don't do this full time, like we're nowhere near that point. So like if we ever get there, we could dive into so much stuff. That would be so awesome, But for right now, to just concentrate on Star Trek, just for everybody watching, keep that in mind. There will hopefully be a point where we're opening it up to doing more of that stuff, especially once we're further from the era, because it's like, a couple years removed from watching TOS to then go back and watch more stuff from that era. We might have more of an appreciation than like watching all of it concurrently with TOS and TOS just being better than all of it,
Yeah, that's true.
That actually raises a question that I had kind of saved for the end, but I'll bring it up here. Fan films. Star Trek continues.
Oh my God.
I know you've been asked, but let's clear the air on that one. You got a big audience here, so let's clear the air on that. How do you feel about fan films? How do you feel about
Oh, we got some
being
super
asked
chats
about?
here.
I have no problem in principle with them. I've never watched a fan film of anything in my life, so I don't, I wouldn't even know what to compare it to, like good or bad for a fan film. I wouldn't even know. But we'll probably do it as a meme when we hit a certain benchmark on Patreon. Would be my guess. I don't know what that number is yet. It's not one that we're close to, but we'll probably do that eventually.
When I'm able to quit my real job, yeah, absolutely. I'll watch whatever you want.
Basically, what they're saying, guys, is everybody go over to Patreon and get the $10 tier so that we can make them watch fan films.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some Star Wars fan films, and it's like, yeah, it's fine, but it's like it's not. You know what I mean? It's almost
It's not the real thing.
Yeah, it's almost the equivalent of watching a Star Wars show today. You know, it's like, it's not. You know what I mean? It's like
It's not George Lucas.
Especially, I think you said this before. Like for Star Wars, Star Trek Continues. It's meant to believe that it's like that era, that time,
that character,
that it's William Shatner's Kirk.
Yeah,
and it's just like I don't know. I know they've gotten TOS actors back for it, which is insane. Like, I don't know. I'm picturing like what's his face?
The Adonis guy?
No.
like the real characters.
I'm picturing like, I don't know, someone from Star Wars, for example. Like, let's say the guy that plays Darth Maul, Ray Park, like him doing a fan film. Like that would be insane. So the fact that someone like that came back for Star Trek Continues is nuts.
Yeah,
but
it'll be fun to watch one day. That's really all we can. And that's the best way to put it.
A good story for another time.
Yeah, we did get a few more super chats though, so I want to get to these. Action Com says, since you are doing release order, will you be doing behind the scenes documentaries like Reading Rainbow, The Bionic Bunny Show, or William Shatner's Memories? This would be the same thing, I think, just in that list. You know what I mean? When we get to a point where we'll watch whatever people want. Anything documentaries, I've never seen a documentary reaction. Is it good? I don't.
I sent you a screenshot I sent you a screenshot one time. Like this on HBO, a show called like House of Hammer came out, just like about Army Hammer. So just for like the hell of it, I YouTube searched House of Hammer reaction, and sure enough, a few YouTube channels.
Okay.
Like reacting to like what?
Yeah, I have no idea how to do a reaction to a documentary, but
like, wow, that's interesting, or wow, that's crazy. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess it would depend on what the specific documentary is. Like,
yeah.
I think with like William Shatner, it's more entertainment than it is. You're not watching.
It's not like educational. Yeah.
Look at this. Like, oh wow, no, that's nature. Cool.
Yeah, it's like I used to make jokes about it, like reacting to the daily news. Like, oh, like CBS morning news reaction. With like the open mouth thumbnail.
Yeah. But all those will be on that list for sure. We got another one from Michael. Thank you, Michael. He says there was a decade between 69 and 79 that only had the animated series and conventions for 10 years. Now there are 4 or 5 crappy shows on, LOL. Yeah, it is interesting that I think this was Steve, you can correct us if we're wrong. This was probably the biggest jump in time that we're going to take from the end of TOS at 69 to the Next Generation in 87, right? 87?
Yeah.
Like that jump of time for like regular TV was probably never done from then to now, right? Like there was basically Star Trek on moving forward.
Enterprise went off the air in 2005, and Discovery premiered in 2017.
Oh, okay. So a little over a decade there. Okay.
It's pretty close. It's pretty close.
I didn't know that.
I was 16
Okay.
when Enterprise was canceled, and then I was 20. Was it 26, 27 when Discovery premiered? So it's a pretty good jump.
Yeah.
But
go ahead.
Here's a question: do you think there'll ever be another Star Trek movie ever again? Because I feel like both Star Wars and Star Trek are in this like TV shows are cheap. It's like let's just keep doing cheap TV shows.
Well, I do know that Star Trek 4 of the new ones has been in development hell for like 6 years or whatever. So I don't know the status of that. 1 week Chris Pine leaves, the next week he's back. No one knows what's going on. They fire everyone. They hire him back. I don't know the status of that at all.
I'm into it until they hire Timothy Chalamet. Then I'm done. As soon as he's brought into Star Trek, I'm done.
He's the new Kirk.
Certainly not to spoil anything. I know you guys many years ago saw the
Yeah.
JJ movies. The biggest problem that they had, and this is not a spoiler, is they kind of burned themselves out. Like they were just big to start with, and then they just kind of crashed. And the actors are like, "Hey, I want more money. If you want me to do another one, I want more money because this is my career. I don't want to be typecast as Spock for the rest of my life." So, will we see another movie again? I mean, they're making a movie, but it's going to be on streaming. I don't think it's going to see much of a theatrical release. So,
I mean, there will be another movie at some point because money. Like there will be eventually. It's just a matter of how long it's going to be. We got a couple more. Another one from Scott Marish. Thank you, Scott. He says, also, you have so much material yet to view. We never knew if what we just viewed might be the last. Yeah, and that's something that we'll never experience until we catch up.
Yeah, actually, we do not experience that today because the sludge must flow in today's modern media. It's like there's always something, except for Friday the 13th. I saw the last one in theaters in 2009, and I've been waiting patiently.
That's also stuck in development hell.
I've been waiting patiently for a decade for another bad movie, so I need some more trash.
I thought the Friday the 13th remake was decent, actually.
I actually liked it a lot, yeah. But you know what I'm saying by trash.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would say the Nightmare on Elm Street remake was much worse.
That was trash.
Yeah.
I'm talking about like good trash. There's a difference.
Yeah.
There's entertaining trash, yes.
Yeah.
Slasher trash.
And then we got Jonathan. Thank you for the super chat. He says, now that you are a few months away from TOS, is there anything you think you will miss as you move forward in Star Trek? Anything we'll miss from TOS?
Just probably those costumes, the cast. It feels like, I don't know, especially like moving the TNG. Like I love the new cast, I like them a lot, but I just miss the banter between the big three, and I miss the other characters, and it feels very upsetting that it's like, oh, that's it. I should have appreciated more. As if I can't go back and watch it, but it's like, you know what I mean.
But during that first time watch,
yeah.
We tried.
We tried during the Empath episode and all those others.
Yeah. I think I'm kind of on the same page. I'll just say, just how good it was, but also just the simplicity of 60s TV, purely episodic. We love character stuff. We're gonna love once we get to more serialized things, I'm sure. But I can already feel it in TNG because we have watched the first few episodes. You can check them out on our Patreon. But there's already just like a little bit more serialization there. Even if it's just a tinge, just a little hint. We'll never have that real pure, just like simple episodic episodes of TV that Star Trek TOS had.
Which we've never experienced, really. Like, 'cause we were, like, I think we went to episode 2, we were like, oh. Even episode 1, we're like, oh, we're just jumping right in.
Yeah.
Like, no soft lead-in or anything. Like, I think of every TV show in the last decade or so, that pilot is such, like, an introduction of, like, the characters and how things are going. But I'm going to miss those blind, this is the story. Get over it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Yeah. Okay. I did want to touch a little bit on TAS. That Michael brought it up in his super chat. Steve, I know you had a question and you wanted to touch on it as well.
What was that?
For TAS, the animated series, just to touch on that for a moment. What did you think of TAS?
It's not bad. I think as far as what it could have been, what they wanted to make it, which was a child show. They wanted to make it really kiddie. It's actually remarkably adult for a show aimed at children. I appreciate that they didn't dumb it down for the audience. That was a surprise to me when I first watched it many years ago. That would be my kind of summary. It's not the piece of Star Trek I go back to the most, but I do appreciate it, definitely.
Yeah, I liked it a lot. Yesteryear is better than every other episode by far, but that's just amazing TV. But the rest of it's good.
DC Fontana, not DC Studios. Definitely not DC Studios. My thing with the TAS, I actually wish it was a bit longer because those like good episodes, they just snap through things and you're just trying to retain everything. It's like wait. It's like, especially when there's a lot of set pieces, it's like bam, 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 bam. So I wish they were a bit longer. But yeah, not bad at all.
Watching it in a binge watching fashion though did wear on us, I think, a little bit. I mean, we watched all of TAS in 3 weeks, which is in our recording time 6 days because we record twice a week.
We did
so
we did 4 episodes a day.
yeah, 4 episodes each recording, and it started to wear on us towards the end. And I think also our anticipation of the movies was getting closer, where we're like, okay, let's wrap up this cartoon. I said it in the series, but I think if TAS had been like any longer at all, we probably just would have skipped it. Like it being only 22 episodes, we were like, okay, we can do this. You know what I mean? We can watch this too. But if it was like, cartoons, sometimes it's like 150 episodes. Like I'd have been like, no, we're not watching that.
But
No, try watching the Dragon Ball franchise. It's like, good lord, where do you even start?
never going to start that.
Yeah, anime is a different level.
Yeah, but I think it's fun with TAS to think about these. Was it declared not canon or canon?
No one even knew what canon was back then.
Yeah,
so.
true. I just like to think that there's like a giant Spock on some planet out there.
Yeah.
I always think about that giant Spock's out there.
Yeah, I treated it as canon for sure.
And that piece of shit Bem is out there.
There was actually a question that my friend Jim wanted me to pose to you guys on TAS on the subject of that episode. Let me see if I can actually find it here. You're gonna go this freaking nerd.
While you're looking for that, we did get another super chat from Eddie. Greetings from Germany. TOS is my fave. You've seen a lot already, but you ain't seen nothing yet. TNG and DS9 will have mind-blowing episodes. Buckle up. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, greetings from Germany. Good lord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Eddie. Did you find it, Steve?
I did, yes.
All right, go ahead.
All right, this is going to test your nerd knowledge, and I know you guys are senile, but
I have none.
what was the name of the mobile plant in the animated series episode The Infinite Vulcan?
There was a mobile plant?
Oh god. I don't know.
You should give us
I don't
multiple
know.
choice. Yeah, I have no idea.
Yeah, like give me 3 options,
Ret
multiple
Law.
choice. Make the other 2 very obvious wrong. Yeah, no idea.
What was it?
Ret Law.
Right? Law. Yeah, I would have did no idea.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was a mobile
This
plant.
is
What
what
did it do?
It was poisonous and it moved around. I can't remember.
Oh, the
I haven't
little
seen
thing
that
that
episode.
comes out of the ground. The little thing that came out of the
Mhm.
ground and like bit Sulu.
Yeah.
Okay, I kind of remember it now.
Gotcha. Yeah, one thing about me is I am horrible with like names, like face recognition, or just seeing like a frame from an episode. I'm like, oh, it's that one. But like, people reference episode names in TOS. I'm like, shit, which one was that? Like I had to think for a second with the changeling. I'm like,
Yeah, I'm the same way, and the only reason I'm good with episode titles for TOS is because I have to edit the videos, so I get more familiar with the episode title from posting the videos. That is the only reason I remember the episode titles. I'm the same way. So yeah, unfortunately, we're not very good at trivia. I guess would probably be the correct. Yeah, we would never. Now, if it was like a visual trivia, put up a picture. Who's this?
that's Spock.
So I want to give you guys a little bit of hatred here before we move on completely
Bring
from
it.
TOS and TS.
Bring it.
This is negativity squared. But let's say when you guys are making $1 million a month, you go back and you do your rewatches of old Star Trek. I want you guys to think, what would be the 5 most painful episodes to go back to?
We have a YouTube video.
It was actually on Patreon.
Oh, was
We had a Patreon extra where we named our top 5 worst episodes. So, we had the same 5 when we revealed our lists. They were in a different order, but we ended up having the exact same 5 worst episodes. And I think, Steve, you're a patron. Do you think it's okay if we give it away?
Yeah.
It's been a while. It's been a while since we posted that. I don't want the patrons to feel like we're taking anything exclusive from them. But I mean, first I'll ask the chat. Just guess You don't have to do all 5, but just put in the chat, just guess what episodes you think are our least favorite. You'll probably know. If you've watched our reactions, like, it's pretty clear.
Can I give you my 5?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
go
yeah.
your 5 first.
I'm
while
curious.
While we're
What do you-
waiting for the chat.
I'm curious. What do you got?
All right, so I tried to order this in best to worst.
Okay.
So
Yeah, like 5 to
dipping
1.
into it still.
Yeah, like 5 to 1
Like a
worst.
lot.
Yeah.
So we would start with the Deadly Years.
Yes. Awful. Terrible.
Miri
Yep.
and the Children Shall Lead.
Yep.
The Alternative Factor. And then finally, The Empath, because I really want to make you watch that again, Alex.
Oh,
I thought the alternative factor. Everyone said it was the worst episode. The guy falling off the cliff screaming.
oh,
We had a great time with it.
that was like a fun episode to watch for comedic value. You know, what I mean? That guy falling off the cliff is one of my favorite clips ever. And the fact that like, in Search for Spock, there's a very similar thing like that where Kirk jumps off the cliff onto
Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so hilarious. Yeah, so that one almost gets a pass. I've said this before, but there's episodes of TOS that just fall by the wayside, like in the middle. Like, not great, not terrible. It's like, that was an episode of Star Trek.
And as much as it seemed like we hated the empath when we watched it, it didn't make our lists for the worst.
That's true.
I don't think the empath was like a terrible episode. I was just like, at the time, it was so baffling to watch because it's such a different episode and one that I didn't like. I didn't love the episode for sure. So I think I came off more negative in the reaction. A lot of people, let's look at the chat here. A lot of people saying all the same stuff. Assignment Earth. Someone says Omega Glory, the one where they bring out the American flag at the end. I found that to be hilarious enough to give a pass. They're like stuck down on the planet. And then, like, at the end, it turns out it's, like, the U.S. Constitution, and they, like, literally walk in an American flag.
Oh, God.
Which it's like, they're not on Earth. They're not on Earth, so...
That's right. We got looks like we have a couple super chats.
Oh, yeah.
here.
Just to wrap up on this, though. Miri and the Children Shall Lead, The Deadly Years, Assignment Earth, and, what was the 5th one?
Are you sure it wasn't the empath?
Did they make our list?
I'm trying to... What else could it be?
See, I didn't list the Assignment Earth because that's not Star Trek.
Yeah, true. It's some people's favorite episode, apparently. Which, I mean, I guess they don't like Star Trek.
Plus, I know they reference Gary 7 and Picard, which is absolutely insane to me. That
Spoilers.
of all,
Jeez.
it's Assignment Earth. It doesn't count. You know, it's not Star Trek, right? It's not a spoiler. Neither is Picard, apparently, to some people.
Yeah.
All right, so what do we got here?
Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it was the empath. Maybe I misspoke because I can't think of what the 5th one would be. So that must be it. Okay. This is from Michael again. Thank you, Michael. Did you guys know that the first National Happy Meal was for the motion picture? That's awesome, actually.
Really? Oh, wow.
I can't tell you how big of a media blitz that film was, and trying to collect all the Trek Happy Meal boxes and toys, an amazing time.
Dude, I wish, like, just to, like, grow up in, like, 70s, 80s, and 90s, like, with, you know, just... Like, I don't know, just like the pop culture toys as they were coming out or stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm very nostalgic for, like, stuff like that. Just, like, the simple day-to-day life of stuff like that. Like, the stuff now sucks.
You know, what's funny about that, too, is Star Trek never caught a break in the merchandising department.
Really?
It never could get its stride going. The first movie got action figures, a play set, like they said, the McDonald's Blitz. Then Star Trek 2, the most action-oriented Star Trek movie, doesn't get anything.
Really?
And then
That's
Star
interesting.
Trek 3, they did a couple of action figures, and then Star Trek 4, everyone's like, nope. Even though that was the most money-making one, you know, they could have made a lot of money on merch, that they didn't touch that one.
Sell some toy
And then
whales?
Star Trek 5, everyone kind of learned their lesson for the last time.
Yeah. Matthew McKinnon, it looks like. I'm sorry, it's not showing me the full thing. Let me see if I can extend this real quick so I can read people's full... Nope, still doesn't.
It's got to be McKinnon.
McKinnon. Sorry if that's not the full name. Donation, no question, but the super chat. Thank you very much. Phaser Face with the super chat. Have you started buying any Trek collectibles? You buy a lot of shirts.
Collectibles, no, but I'll look up shirts on Redbubble or Amazon. Like, I bought, like, a Happy Spocktober shirt for October. I bought just a generic, the original series shirt. Christmas is coming up, so I want to start finding some Star Trek Christmas shirts. Yeah, but in terms of collectibles, no, I've never really been a collectible guy. I've moved like 6 times in the past 6 years, so it's just more shit to move,
Yeah.
and like I just want to throw more stuff out rather than collect. But
I, on the other hand, don't have any. I would say collectibles. I guess I just more so collect obviously like the physical media. You know, the VHSs have been cool
the
to buy.
VHS tapes, yes.
Yeah, and then I have them all on Blu-ray, obviously the box set. And then I did get like a couple little things that I would get just from online, like little, but nothing like cool. And that does bring up also a lot of people recently have started asking us about a PO box to send us stuff. So that is in the works. Only reason it hasn't been done is because I'm lazy, but it will be done soon. And then once that's available, we'll announce it, and it'll also be in the description of our videos. So if there is any fan mail that people want to send, because we've already gotten multiple people wanting us to, which we really appreciate and is really awesome, because I would never think that, but people want to, we'll let you guys know as soon as that is open, which again should be soon.
Whenever someone like talks about like their address or something, I always think of Breaking Bad, where he goes, "My name is Walter Hartwell White. I live at 503 Negra Oriole."
Yeah.
Sorry.
And then last super chat here we have right now is from CJ. One more fave TOS episode. Mine is Doomsday Machine.
Like one more favorite as opposed to our already established favorites. Is that what he's saying? Like, because we've done our top 5 or 10.
And then we did our top 15.
We did a top 15, yeah. So
I'll just throw out one that never made any of our lists, but I've always really liked, and that's Shore Leave. I think Shore Leave is one of the best, like, low stakes episodes. It doesn't seem low stakes the first time watching it, but once you know what's going on, and like in retrospect, they just go down to a planet for a shore leave, and it's like a magical planet essentially. I think it's a really fun idea, and they revisit it in TAS, and I think even do it debatably better because it's a cartoon. So I've always liked that episode.
Oh, gotcha. Well, I'm trying to think of one that we haven't said before, but I'm just kind of scrolling through the episodes here. You know what? I'll just because it's a good one. I'm gonna go with. I just had it. Where'd it go? Sorry. This Side of Paradise.
That's my favorite episode.
That is your favorite. That's your favorite episode. Yeah. Yeah. Just Spock being happy and just all the goofy stuff that happens with that, with one of the most painful endings of all time, and I love those painful endings.
And Doomsday Machine is an episode that would definitely be on a rewatch list for sure. Not that we hated it, but everyone seems to love it, and we just thought it was decent.
That's the asshole captain, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Decker. Yeah.
Yeah. I've grown more to appreciate that one as time's gone. I don't think I cared for it originally in my initial reaction, but the more I think about it, I'm like, that's pretty good.
Yeah, it was a very, very good performance. One of the best guest performances of the show. It was just nothing else in the episode grabbed me in our initial reaction, so definitely one I'd want to rewatch. All right, Steve, what do you got next?
Well, we're starting to kind of move towards the movies at this point. I'm actually surprised. I'm just going to say this not to jinx anything, but we're actually doing really well on those super chats. Props to the patrons and the target audience. Seriously, guys,
thank you,
this
guys.
is awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
I was expecting like 5 people to show up and for it to be a complete failure. So, this is
Wow,
awesome.
thanks, Steve. We bring you on the channel. These are this is what the expectations.
No,
He was
keep
dreading it
everybody
all week.
Well, I mean,
No,
you never know how
you never
things
know.
are
I
gonna
get
go.
it. I get it. Yeah, and we don't stream a lot, so we're not a streaming channel necessarily. So yeah, I understand.
It's also a Wednesday, That was the other thing. I was like, is anybody going to show up on a Wednesday?
That's the
Like,
exact reason
I-
they show up, because it's Wednesday. What else are we doing?
Yeah, it's not like we're going out to like an event or anything. People get to stay at home.
Yeah,
True. It's true.
this is the internet.
Let's see here. So we're going into the movies now. We kind of talked a little bit about the motion picture. How much did you guys have you guys done any behind the scenes research on the Trek movies and kind of what went on there, or
I think
have
we
you kinda
did.
stayed away from that?
I think we did a bit for when we did our discussion videos.
Watch
post.
our discussion videos.
But I've said this before. I'm very split on behind the scenes stuff. On one hand, I want to know everything that went into it because I find filmmaking fascinating. I want to know like how this was made, what was this set, where was this filmed, blah 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 blah. And then the other hand is like I enjoy the magic and of just what we see on screen. And like sometimes I think about my favorite movies, and I often worry if I were to see the other side of the camera, is that going to ruin any of the magic for me? You know what I mean? It's like, is that going to take away any of the aura of appreciation I have for it? And if I see it dissected, is it going to kill it? You know, but it's like
It's true.
but you know, it's like, ugh, you know what I mean? I want
It's
to see some
double-edged
footage of
sword.
Spock. I want to see some footage of Leonard Nimoy, you know, doing some stuff behind the camera. I looked up some behind the scenes photos, and they were super cool.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. I just something about it. It's like when you see how the sausage is made, it makes you feel differently about the movie, and it almost gives you like in my opinion, it can give you an attachment to that movie once you know more about it. That kind of boosts how you feel about the movie, which there's nothing wrong. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. But I just think like if I were to dive into the behind the scenes stuff, I would want to make sure to do it evenly. Because like if I just decided I really loved Search for Spock, right? Like if I just decided to dive in on the behind the scenes on Search for Spock, but none of the other movies, obviously I'm gonna have more of a positive thought then on Search for Spock because that's the one I learned everything about. So I just kind of stay away from it as a whole, just to try to not taint how I feel about anything. But yeah, learning the backstage stuff that we get in our comments. Obviously, we learn a bunch of stuff through our comments and our patrons, and that's always neat. I just don't go out of my way necessarily to really watch anything. Plus, there's always just a deep fear, kind of similar to how Alex said with the Red Letter Media. I'll be watching a behind the scenes about TMP, and then all of a sudden they'll be like, "Yeah, it's like in season 4 of TNG," and it's like, "Oh, okay, I can't watch, can't watch this." So I stay away because of that too.
Oh, that is one. Just it popped into my head. Jordy's thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what that actually is?
No idea.
It's a beret, a barrette for the women wear it up here.
Oh,
in their
really?
hair.
Oh, it's just like a hair thing.
They just took it and put a frame on it because it looked futuristic. Nobody's gonna recognize that. That
That's
just ruined Star Trek: The Next Generation for you. Sorry.
no. I also like those things are just so fascinating and how simple. You know, like some of the most crazy. Like I don't know. One thing I love behind the scenes is how like in Jurassic Park how they got like the water for the cup. You know, it's like they just set up some guitar strings and they flicked it and it caused like little things like that were like simple. Like that's like a huge budget movie, but like the simple filmmaking tricks are like so timeless sometimes.
That's filmmaking.
It's film.
Yeah.
You know, it's like nothing else is working, but it's something simple and dumb. You know what I mean? But nowadays everything's just
Put it
you
in.
know everything's just on one of these, and it's awful.
We sold out. This will be this green screen will be a big part of our channel. You'll see soon. So
We've sold out.
but that's just because like we don't have enough money to pay for a good real set, so we just have to use this green screen for now.
Not yet, but patreon.com/
All right, yeah. So jumping into the movies necessarily, do you want to just start off with Steve? You can go first, and then we can go because we didn't do like a discussion wrap up on the movies like we did for the show. So we can just rank the first 4 movies. I think that'd be fun. If you want to go first, Steve.
Oh yeah. For me, it would be kind of ironically what you were talking about there, Josh, with the things getting precious. Star Trek 3 is probably my favorite off the top. And the main reason for that is Harv Bennett. When he took on the role as producer, he watched TOS end to end. He took notes. So you're watching Star Trek 3 and you can draw direct parallels in dialogue and characterization back to Mock Time and Day of the Dove. There's that scene with Commander Krug and Kirk, and Krug says, "No tricks, Kirk. You have 1 minute." And Kirk says, "No tricks." He said the same thing in Day of the Dove when he's talking to Kang. No tricks. Once we get aboard the ship, no tricks.
Ah.
So anytime Kirk says that to a Klingon, it usually means he's about to trick the Klingon. That's just how
That's neat.
I would probably. It's really hard for me because it's like a mood thing. You know, all 4 of those movies are very different.
Mm-hmm.
Motion Picture and Wrath of Khan would probably tie for number 2, and then I'd put Star Trek 4 not in a distant. Like I said, it's mood, but Star Trek 4 would probably be in the tail end.
Nice. Well, I think we're gonna piss everyone off here.
Let me go with what's last. No, number 1.
Well, real quick, you can agree or disagree. We like all 4 movies.
Oh yeah, I love all 4.
We love some more than others. There's none of them we dislike. So take everything we're about to say with a grain of salt.
Yeah. It's so tough, but I got to think. Maybe tied for first. It's tough. It's probably Motion Picture and Search for Spock.
Yeah, I put Search for Spock as my clear number 1.
Yeah, those two are so close, but it's pointless because they're 4 different movies.
Yeah, it's like what Steve said.
Yeah, you know what I mean. It's like I don't know. It's like ranking your favorite food. Well, they're all different things. You know, depending on what food.
Yeah.
3, probably go Wrath of Khan. 4, Voyage Home.
Okay, so I'll switch it up because I put Voyage Home as my second favorite. I really love it for the character stuff. Everyone gets involved, which doesn't happen in most of the movies. And I really like it. I don't love it as much as some of the people in the comments have let us know. Like, this is my favorite. Like, it is nowhere near Search for Spock for me. But I really enjoy it. And then I would put TMP, and I put Wrath of Khan last. Which again is a good movie and it's very well made. But it's just funny because I think it translates very much into the episodes of TOS that we liked. And I feel like Wrath of Khan is similar to like a Balance of Terror or a Doomsday Machine where everyone loves it because it's so well made. And it's like, yeah, it is a really well made movie. It's just not what I want in a Star Trek movie necessarily. So like while I appreciated it, of those 4, it's at the bottom, but I liked it.
Yeah, let me just say this. So let's say you have a race of the 4 fastest runners in the world. One of them's going to be last in that race.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean they're a bad racer. You know what I mean? It's just like you put 4 of the best in a race. You know, it's like someone's going to be a loser.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's like we've talked about this in a different video, but it's like just because it's last doesn't mean it's the worst.
Yeah. Sometimes it does, but sometimes not. Yeah.
Depends.
Depends. Yeah.
Meanwhile, somebody's keyboard is clacking right now. You hate Star Trek 2? You hate it's because you didn't get it. You guys just didn't get it. That's all it is.
I put it at 3, so
yeah, I think
or 2.
I think it'll really be funny if we end up liking Star Trek 5 more as well because that seems to be the one everyone hates. So we have a little bit before we get.
I am so excited for that. Just for people to rip us apart.
You scoot over just a little bit.
It became kind of a game for me when I was watching you guys go through TOS. What are they going to think this week? Because the normative popular opinion and what you guys usually came up with, that was what made it entertaining to watch. It was not, and I said this to Josh last week when we talked, the brand of target audience is what you guys think of what you watch. Period. Like, that's what makes you guys you. And for some Star Trek fans have a hard time with that. What do you mean you didn't like everything exactly down the line as everybody else likes? You know, like he had radiation.
The best. I don't want to dwell on this too long, but my favorite comments are the ones that are like, "I'd love to see you guys make a show." It's like, why are you watching this YouTube video? Like you decided to watch 2 idiots talk about something. Like that's not our decision.
Yeah, one, you are watching the show.
Yeah.
True. 2, yeah, I used to have a problem with that where like I used to have this defense of stuff I liked. And I would watch YouTube channels of people talking about it and I would get upset. But then I was able, I don't know, to grow and be like, you know what? Every person is wired differently. I want to hear some different takes on it. I want to see it from a different perspective. Because I used to be like, oh, this person, blah, blah, blah. As if, it was my baby or something. Yeah. When I didn't make it, it's like, but I've able to open myself up to other forms or other people's forms or opinions, criticisms on stuff, and make me think, oh, look, almost like a debate. Like, okay, made some good points.
Yeah, I also just want to say on that part that we have a clear and obvious underlying love for Star Trek. Like, we wouldn't be continuing with this if we didn't. There's plenty of shows. I mean, you guys can all attest to this. There's plenty of stuff we've watched on the channel that people want us to continue and we haven't, right? And the main reason for that is because of the YouTube performance. But even that aside, we're not going to continue watching something that we don't absolutely love. And I mean, we love Star Trek. So that's why for me, I feel like, yeah, if I am tearing apart a particular episode or even just pointing out why I don't like something, it's just like, hey, look, I love the show. So it's not that you go a complete pass, you know, like obviously people can disagree with us and tell us why they disagree, but it's just the over the top, like, this is ridiculous. It's like, it's not that serious.
You guys are stupid.
On
All
that
right.
subject, I just want to say real quick, I'm sorry. I'll take full responsibility for this. I'm so sorry for Quantum Leap. I thought it was going to be a second Star Trek for you guys, and you just kind of liked it, and that's okay. It wasn't it did not do well with audiences, so oh well.
I mean, I think it did well view wise. I mean,
It didn't.
I-
Well, what's the bar? If the bar is Star Trek, it didn't. But if
the bar is like 1,000 views per episode. I think if it gets more than 1,000, because there's like a clear gap sometimes. It's like
Yeah.
300 views for like our Flanagan stuff. And I think anything over 1,000 is like decent.
yeah, what I'll say is like when it comes to the secondary stuff, for me, it has to move the needle for it to make sense to continue. So like if we watch a season of something and like even if a couple thousand people who are already in our audience watch it, but it's not moving the needle for the channel, then it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? To continue it immediately. And that's why we watch one season of stuff and don't continue. But all that stuff falls into a bucket if we could always go back to it. There's nothing we've watched that I would never watch again except for Scream, the TV show.
Oh yeah, that was yeah. But yeah, believe me, we see all the comments saying, "Oh, it gets better in the third season or the second season," but it's like, but we have to start at the first one.
Yeah, we're not a watch the top 10 episodes channel. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's just not what we do.
And we've suffered through some first season stuff.
Yeah.
But maybe one day down the line, when I don't have to work for
It all comes back to the capitalism.
It all comes back to capitalism.
All right, we got a few more super chats here. We got to read. Eddie says, "Is there a schedule change now that there are a lot more episodes per season of Trek? Do you watch more in one go? By the way, what even is your schedule?"
Well, I live here, as you all know.
Yeah, Alex lives here, and twice a week I pull him out, like you saw at the beginning of this stream. No, but because of our job schedules and our real life stuff, personal lives, all of that. Since we transitioned to in person, which I think we both like a lot more, we have only been able to do it twice a week. So, I mean, remember, guys, TOS we were watching virtually. So, I mean, we never even watched that in person.
We were doing an episode 4 days a week.
A recording 4 days a week,
Recording
yeah.
4 days
but
a
only one thing.
Yeah,
like
only
we'd watch one episode. But now we're doing twice a week, and for TNG we're watching it every Monday, and we're watching 2 episodes on Monday. So what the schedule is going to be is we'll watch it on Monday, 2 episodes. Those 2 episode uncut reaction will be on Patreon that week, and then obviously we also have to edit them, so then they'll hit YouTube eventually. But it's going to start next week here on YouTube with the pilot, and we're going to be looking at 2 episodes a week for TNG consistently. So I would look for, in terms of the schedule, that's what you're going to be looking at.
Wednesday's more fun stuff.
Yeah, Wednesdays when we do our discussion videos or watch Patreon movies. We started watching exclusive movies over there for our Patreon that we then do the discussions like you guys saw for Apollo 13. We're going to be doing that for more movies where you can watch the movie with us if you want to on our Patreon, but then we discuss it for YouTube. Those will just be more so like a couple times a month, 1 to 2 times a month. But the TNG will be the main focus, 2 of those a week for sure. So
it really is one for us, one for us, one for them, or one for them, one for us. Whatever.
Yeah.
Although Star Trek is us for us too.
I mean, we've been watching Star Trek TNG now for 3 weeks, I think, right? Yeah, because we've watched 6 episodes.
Yeah.
And I'm like psyched every Monday to watch it. So it's like absolutely. But we just unfortunately don't have more days right now. Plus the editing time. We could watch 10 episodes in a week. That doesn't mean I can edit 10 episodes. So that factors into it too. But all right, let's got a couple more here. CJ says, Michael with another super chat says, "Did you guys catch that Saavik and Spock made it in the cave in Star Trek 3 and that she was pregnant or preggers in 4 and stayed behind? Also explains her meek look to him when saying goodbye." I've read hundreds of comments about this, yes. I didn't catch it in the movie though.
Yeah, we talked about this in the discussion video, didn't we?
Yeah, watch the discussion.
You didn't watch every single video we have before coming to this? Are you serious? No, thank you, man.
Yeah, thank you. But
If I can
yeah,
nerd on that one for just a second.
yep.
There's something about Saavik that always irked me. It's kind of cut, but it's still kind of considered canon. She's supposedly half Vulcan and half Romulan, which
Yeah.
is like saying she's half and half of the same thing. because Romulans are Vulcans. They're just on a different planet. It's not.
And wait, she's pregnant with a half human, half Vulcan baby.
Oh yeah, quarter Vulcan.
Oh God, this baby's gonna be like jack of all trades.
He was the prophecy. He was the chosen one.
The chosen one.
Sexist of us to assume it's a he.
If only a Klingon could have gotten involved somehow. That would have been the ultimate Star Trek.
Yeah. All right. We got CJ. Star Trek V is the GOAT. You will see. I hope you're right, CJ. 17 Nation Army. Star Trek V, I would call a bad movie with a few really awesome scenes. One in particular might be my favorite in all of Star Trek, but it is at the bottom of my list of movies. What a great juxtaposition there.
You know what? We're gonna see this movie and we're gonna love it, and people are gonna freak the F out. I can't wait.
Didn't William Shatner direct V? Is that right, Steve?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh
yeah.
Oh hell yeah! Oh hell yeah!
Okay. And we got one more here for now. Larry Potter, thank you. Very generous super chat. You know, guys, I was never that crazy about Star Trek 3 Search for Spock, and yet until I watched it with you guys, you actually turned me around to my favorite movie. For that, I give this to you. That's insane.
Yeah, that's what. Thank you, man. But that's what's so cool is that we can watch these things and people go back and rewatch it with us, or just rewatch our reactions. And if we can give like a different perspective, or have people go back and somehow that changes their perspective, that is so cool to me. Especially since for something we love like Search for Spock, and if we can turn people onto that didn't like it originally, I think that's fascinating.
Yeah, or vice versa. If you like really loved an episode and then we just made you hate it.
Good.
I always really loved the Empath, but now
The Deadly Years is my favorite episode. Not anymore.
Okay, and we got one from Webb. I think this is James, though. I think, if I'm correct, I recognize the picture, or someone just has the same picture.
You
but
just
I think...
dox this guy?
Oh no, his first name. He says, "Here's a different lens to look at episodes like Balance of Terror and Doomsday Machine through. They're suspense episodes, not so much action episodes, as you referred to them at the time. Favorite channel on YouTube." Well, thank you very much. And yeah, I get where you're coming from with that.
Yeah, I do like suspense, mystery, drama more than action. I mean, I think that goes with what our favorite movies are in Star Trek. I think, honestly, we've joked about this, but I would just like a throwaway, maybe somewhere down the line, like a second time watching would be a fun thing to do, especially in person, because we've only watched one episode of
Star Trek in person. Yeah.
of Star Trek of TOS in person.
Yeah.
So that would be a fun thing to revisit in person, and like more of like a casual, calm, because a lot of these I really would like to revisit. I remember like for our discussion videos, I would watch it at home on Paramount Plus on my TV. I'm like, God, this is so much better than watching it on my little laptop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and I have
Yes, big.
yeah, I have a Mac desktop, so the screen was a little bit bigger, but I also did the recording and stuff, so I have, every time we would watch Star Trek and everything, OBS open, Discord open, the video open, so it was distracted for both of us. In person would be awesome.
I would have my Discord open and other
Yeah, you too, yeah. So, down the line for sure, once we have more time, no time. All right, back to the movies, though, Steve. In the discussion about the movies, was there anything else for the movies in particular you wanted to ask us about or talk about?
Kind of just a little bit of timeline. Like I said, some behind the scenes stuff that I think is kind of interesting. Art Bennett was a TV guy. He was known for getting things done on time and under budget. That's why he was given the job.
Hell yeah.
Nick Meyer had never seen Star Trek. Not, when he was asked about the job, it was, "Is that the one with the guy with the pointy ears?" And he recounted a story of the only Star Trek experience he had was when he was in college. He had a friend who would drop acid and watch the original series. He's like, that was my extent of Star Trek. And he talks about the death scene in particular, how he was disconnected from Star Trek because he's down the camera and he looks up and he looks around and everybody on that stage was crying for Spock's death. Tears. And he's like, oh, I did not know the sheer weight of, even back then, how important Spock was to everybody. And I think the reason the Wrath of Khan often gets put in that category of this is the one to watch is because it is pretty accessible. You don't really need to know a lot, but even with people who have never watched Star Trek before, I've watched Wrath of Khan with them, and that scene still kicks them in the stomach. I've actually watched reactors on YouTube who have watched Wrath of Khan. They've watched Space Seed, and then they've watched Wrath of Khan. They love the movie, and then as soon as Spock dies, they hate the movie.
Yeah.
They turn on it like 180. Like,
And just
man, I was having a good time.
just as a reminder too, I mean, for our perspective, like at the end of the day, we neither of us thought Wrath of Khan was our favorite movie. It's still the only reaction we've done where we've come close to crying. I mean, we both.
I was crying.
Yeah.
I was like, the tears were there. And then here comes Scotty with his bagpipes.
Scotty with the bagpipes,
And he just
yeah.
robbed it from me. And people like ripped me apart about that. I'm like it just came out of the bagpipes were just out of nowhere. Like, I'll defend it. And plus it was Scotty. You know, if there's like a row of people and they were already in frame, but like,
But yeah, but that moment though of the funeral and everything, you know, that was, you know, probably one of our most emotional moments. Even so, buried inside a movie that was our favorite, I still like to give it credit and props for that. You know.
oh yeah, I love that funeral, and like I've grown to appreciate that death scene more. It's just like on a first time reaction, like some things just took me out of it. But like as a whole, it was amazing. Like I would scrounge through the streaming services for like movies that will make you cry, because I'm always looking. I love that, getting that reaction from something, because it makes me feel like a human being. And like the last time I like looked up movies that make you cry, I watched it and like it did nothing for me. I'm like, God, but it's like it's one of those things where like you can't search for it; it just has to happen. And I never thought it would happen in Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan, which people have talked about as like the best Star Trek action movie. I never thought I would cry during that. So so kudos to it.
That brings me to kind of my last thing with Wrath of Khan specifically, but with pretty much with the movies. Do you remember what your kind of your three criticisms were?
Of the whole movie,
When you kind of did your discussion, what your kind of your three main criticisms were
David.
of the movie?
David as a whole.
No,
Spock's death scene was weird,
yeah, this,
and then
yeah,
I wouldn't even say the bagpipes were a criticism.
No.
No.
I would say them not fighting in person.
Oh, them not meeting in person, Kirk and
No in-person scene. Yeah, because I don't know. When you do a scene, like I've taken acting classes, and like when you're in the same room with the person, all vibing, like I want to see those two actors, you know, like I want to feel their presence, like in the same room together, because there's so much history there, especially since they were both in TOS.
Yeah.
Like, and it's like, and they fought in TOS, and like that history, and like, but never really feeling that tension, that physical tension between them, because it's all over the view screen. Like, I just feel like that was a missed opportunity. Like, I understand, you know,
It was scheduling.
and how old Khan's actor was.
I don't even think that had anything to do with it. People
I
have,
heard, didn't he have some back issues?
well,
or
people have
something?
given us like 12 different reasons, but all of my research that I've done, has all said that it was purely scheduling. Ricardo Montalban was doing that Fantasy Island show, and Kirk might have been doing something too. I don't know, but Nicholas Meyer, Ricardo Montalban, William Shatner, like there's all record of them all saying they wanted to be on screen together, and they just couldn't get it done. So that's the reason I see in my research. People have said other things like how old they are and everything, or just how the movie was written, but I don't buy that. I think it was purely scheduling.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I love the ship chess game. It's very Star Trek of them in their final encounter on the ships. But like, I don't know. Like,
We went off a little bit there, Steve. Sorry, but yeah, I think those were our three, right?
That's kind of touching. What shocked me is the one that I was actually thinking of. You guys didn't even mention at all because it wasn't really a big thing. But I wanted to bring it up anyway because it kind of showed you guys have good instincts on this stuff. There was a moment in the funeral scene. I'm gonna just quickly go here.
Yes, okay. I know what he's gonna say. Yeah.
Yeah, I showed it to Josh already. Spoilers. There's the funeral scene where they're all gathered in the torpedo room, and Kirk is doing his speech. And right at that point where he is gonna say that, you know, he was the most human, there's a moment that was cut where he looks over at McCoy, and McCoy is just tears, just crying, and Kirk's holding it together until he sees McCoy crying, and then he looks at Savick and asks her to carry on the proceedings because he can't that broke him. And you guys said during your reaction, why isn't there a shot of McCoy? That is like next to Kirk, that is Spock's best friend. And it doesn't make any sense that that's not there. Dramatically, that it makes sense because it's a movie for general audiences.
They'd be
But
like,
it
"Why does
doesn't
the
make
doctor
sense.
care?"
Yeah.
Some people have said it was Kelly couldn't cry. I don't know if that's
Get
true.
him some eye drops.
There's ways to do it, but maybe back then, maybe but yeah, I think that would have been like the final like perfect button to show how much Bones cares about Spock because he's always busting his chops about something, and like you green-blooded pointy, it's like. But if we just had that one shot of him crying or something, it would have like. It's like,
Yeah.
I knew it. I knew you care. You know what I mean?
We do get the scene, not in that movie, but in Search for Spock, when Spock is still like passed out and Bones gets to talk to him one-on-one when he's unconscious before they wake him up, which was a nice scene. Wasn't in our YouTube reaction because we just watched it. We didn't really have a reaction to it, but yeah, I would agree.
And choose the danger. Hell of a time to ask.
Steve, was there anything for the general discussion you wanted to throw in here before, and then we can read these super chats and then get into the actual Q&A portion? But was there anything else you wanted to touch on, just in terms of general discussion?
I would say, it's been one heck of a ride, guys, and I appreciate, seriously, genuinely, from the bottom of my heart. Last year or so has been a pretty rough patch in my life, and you guys have been, seriously, been a bright point for me. Your reactions have gotten me through some rough days, so I want to thank you both from the bottom of my heart, and thank you for doing this. Seriously, you could have said no.
No, hey, thank you guys. Thank you. Well, thank you. Yeah, and like without you guys, it's like the channel in general is kind of like an experiment. Like I reached out to you like, hey, what if we did a reaction channel? Because we're always talking to each other about movies and TV shows. Like, what if we just reacted to it on YouTube and made a lot of money? But no, it's like it'd be a fun idea, and I never thought I'd be this emotionally attached to media or something like this and like experiencing this stuff with other people, and it's like it's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll just, the last thing I'll say, first of all, Steve, really appreciate you saying that. That means a lot. And talking to you and everything has been awesome. But just everybody, the whole community, I always will remember after we posted the first Star Trek episode, because it took about 10 episodes. When we got to the menagerie is really when things started to take off viewership wise. Obviously we're still a very small channel here, but like compared to what we were doing before, less than 100 views for every video, but the very first Star Trek episode that we posted, the Man Trap, and had a few hundred views or whatever, I remember getting the first comment that was like from a Star Trek fan, and unfortunately I don't think the person stuck around. I don't remember. It's not a name that sticks out to me, so I apologize. But if you go back to that first video, I'm sure you can find the comment I'm talking about. But someone was just like, oh my goodness, like, wow, I can't believe I found this video. No one on YouTube reacts to Star Trek. Like, this is so awesome. And I remember reading it at the time and thinking like, I wonder how many of these people are out there, because at the time we were just watching current stuff, like what most people do, and we were just watching current stuff and it was fine, whatever, we like some more than others. But for someone to comment that like was just randomly searching the internet for Star Trek videos and found us, I was like, I wonder if there's any others. And clearly there's a lot more. Clearly there's a lot of people. But I'll always remember that moment. Like I was laying in bed when that happened, and it was kind of like the light bulb moment of like, oh, we can just watch whatever we want. Like, we don't have to watch, Hawkeye and Obi-Wan Kenobi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because that was the original idea. Because after, like, the Luke Skywalker boom of 2020, with him being... Spoilers for
Spoiler.
The Mandalorian Season 2. Yeah. It's like, after that, and I saw so many channels just blow up, I'm like, oh my god. And with that, and me wanting to watch stuff with Josh, I'm like, what if we did a channel? And, like... I think we were just looking for stuff to watch, and like we were watching modern stuff. It's like, oh yeah, this is fine. And I think we were just discussing ideas of other stuff. Like, oh, what if we did Star Trek? I think it was my idea.
Yeah.
And here we are. It's the whole channel.
Yeah. And then I'll let you have a last word, Steve, on this general discussion. We're not done, guys. We're just getting started. We're gonna read these last couple of super chats, take a quick break, and then come back for the patrons questions. any other super chats you guys have, and then we'll open it up to open Q&A to the regular chat for those that are still here and have questions for us. We want to make sure to get to as many as we can. But Steve, you're welcome to stay when we come back for the Q&A portion too. Up to you, but I'll let you have the last word here before we take this short break just to wrap up the discussion.
Hey, I'm here for the long haul, but if I may, just I wanted to give a couple of shout outs this evening. First to my friends Jim and Violet, who are watching in the chat right now. You guys are some of my best friends, maybe my very best friends, and I'm glad that you're with me, and I'm glad that we've known each other for so long. I love you guys, seriously. And then an associate of mine off of Twitter and YouTube by the name of Janelle Waz. They do all kinds of Star Trek content. You guys should go and check them out. They do all kinds of stuff. TNG, DS9. They review video games, all kinds of content. They're doing an Elite Force playthrough, Star Trek Voyager Elite Force, so that's a lot of fun. And then another YouTube channel that I love to watch is R Nights. The guys over at R Nights, they do Babylon 5, Black Sails. They're just starting that one now. All kinds of movies. They just did Highlander. There's only one of those, so they're not going to do any more. But yeah, all of you guys, thanks for coming. Thanks for joining in. I hope we're helping the channel, guys. Seriously, I hope this brings in some new viewers who will join the Patreon and see a lot of that content. I'm not shilling. I'm serious. There's a lot of great stuff on there that is unique. And the community is fantastic. There's always a conversation going on. Come and join in. Seriously.
Yeah.
That's my final.
Yeah, Patreon's not that great. No, but honestly, I'm not even lying. But the best part of the Patreon is the patrons. I mean, the community in there is insane. Makes it awesome to have a Patreon. Obviously, I love talking to everybody on YouTube, but you can only do so much. You can only talk to so many people.
Yeah, I try to read YouTube comments, but Patreon comments, I make sure to scroll through and read as much as I can, or every one if I can, because those people they're you know what I mean. It's like
Good dudes.
they're good people. Good people.
Yeah, for sure. And then I just want to make sure we hit these last few super chats we have before we hit the break. Stuart, who put in here, most people find Star Trek somewhere in the middle, a later show, a random movie episode. Y'all are getting a unique experience in order. First season TNG is hated since most folks joined later. Yeah, we've been hearing that a lot, guys. I'm not going to spoil anything for our TNG reactions. The 5th episode just got posted on our Patreon. 6th will be up on Friday, but they're going to start hitting YouTube next week. We've only seen a few episodes, guys, but there's going to be some both reactions in the episodes and takes that we have that I'm already super excited to hit YouTube to see how you guys react to them. So that's going to be awesome.
It's a new generation, the next generation of how we post stuff on YouTube. A little different, little experiment.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Yeah. Did we tell them like the idea we had about Brad and Nick?
About 2 new people. We said it in the video. Yeah.
Okay.
You can tell them now though too if you want.
So we had an idea just to open up the first TNG YouTube idea. We have a couple friends that look kind of like us, and the idea was it would open up with them, like talking as if like the new hosts of the show. Like, hey, I'm Brad. This is Nick with the target audience. Blah blah blah. And we're starting a new show, the next generation. And I think the reaction would start. Like the actual video playing.
Like we were gonna see how far into it we could go.
And then after I don't know, a minute, we're like, what the hell are you doing? Get out of here.
Yeah.
What the hell was that?
Yeah, that's what unfortunately we couldn't get that done. But yeah, you guys know we always love to do the bits and side stuff.
Nick was the duplicate in the motion picture fight scene.
And he was also in our Halloween video.
Our Halloween 3 video, yep.
Yeah, so shout out to him for sure. Steve, you're the first person to be on our channel besides our friend Nick, outside of us too. So,
Honored.
And then the last one here from Michael for now. He says, your reaction to the reveal and Is There in Truth No Beauty has to be one of the funnest moments of watching you guys for me. That's one of the best moments for sure.
Yeah. She's blind.
See, like me personally, of course I love the big moments like that, and I understand why viewers would love them, but I mostly love just when Alex tells a joke that not that makes me laugh out loud in the moment, but it's just really funny because I get to go back and edit the videos. So going back and then hearing the joke again and it hitting me a second time, it's there's so many that I'm like, oh, this is actually really hilarious. So yeah, one of my favorites is the naked time. The naked time when it shows them frozen on the planet, and he's like, oh, he took dead end job a little too serious. All right.
Bringing back the '80s one.
Yeah. We're going to take just a quick break here. Be back in about 5 minutes or so, and we're going to jump into patron questions that we've gotten. Keep on coming with your super chats. We'll read those immediately as soon as we can when we get them, and then after we get through the patron stuff and the super chats, we'll do open Q&A for everybody. So we're just getting started here. We'll be back in just a few minutes. What's up, everybody?
We're back.
Our video's messed up. There we go.
We're back, baby. We're back. Behind the camera.
Gotta love reframing. All right. What were we doing? What was this about? Oh, Q&A.
Oh, Star Trek.
Q&A.
The reason we exist right now.
We're gonna... Oh my god, I forgot to turn it down on my phone!
Echo. Echo!
Okay. Steve, you're still here with us, right?
Yeah, apparently.
I actually can't see him. I don't have Discord open, so no idea what he looks like. Yeah, let's start. We did get one super chat while we were gone from Analog Mind. I know Analog Mind's a frequent commenter, so thank you for the super chat. What is your history with wrestling? Okay, next question. So we're going to No. I'm just kidding. That stunt show you did at the Comic-Con was a pleasant surprise. Love the vids. You put so much effort in. Thank you very much. I'll go first with wrestling and then I'll let you go. We both loved wrestling growing up. It was a big part of our friendship in like high school. Decided to train and become wrestlers after high school. I did it for 5 years and then just, decided that I was done essentially. Alex did it a little bit longer, stopped, and then I'll let you tell your story. But yeah, I enjoyed it. If you look up, our wrestling names, you can find some stuff. But
yeah, first part of that was identical to me. High school, wrestled for 5 years. I took a break. I came back at the beginning of this year, and yeah, just I've been in the ring with people that are on TV now. It's weird. It's crazy, and some of my friends that I know that are on TV, but it wasn't for me. I left, but I came back. I left my dead end job that made me miserable.
Which everyone should do.
Yes. And I'm like, you know what? I kind of miss wrestling. And I came back and I got an opportunity to do like a Comic-Con show at Kalahari in Ohio. And I did that. And it was the most fun I've ever had in wrestling ever because I wrestled as my hero, Captain Kirk, and the crowd loved it. And I get to do it again in December. So, yeah.
And a passion, something for me, this is not at all happening soon. We're not planning on it, but I would love if we ever get to do this full time. It's just a pure passion project to make some type of wrestling content on a different channel because I do really still love it. And I don't like follow it every week or anything, but I still really love it and would love to talk about not just current wrestling, but just like, I grew up tail end of the Attitude Era into the Ruthless Aggression era, post Stone Cold and The Rock and everybody leaving when it was like, okay, now wrestling's not cool anymore. You still like it, and I grew up during that time. So I just I think there's a lot that I love about it that I'd like to eventually talk about one day. But that's not why anyone's here right now. So
people ruined wrestling for us, not wrestling. So Star Trek's going to bring us back to wrestling.
Let's raise a point though. Like if you were going to do Star Trek was a surprise hit. Would you guys go back and do like a WWF, I call it WWF. I don't give a shit. Would you like go back to like the 80s era and watch the reels and the matches and react to them or something like that maybe?
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I would for sure.
Yeah, there's this one channel on TikTok and Instagram that just watches like the most ridiculous stuff. It's called like Deadlock.
Okay.
And they react to old, Attitude Era stuff and they just laugh their way through it. It's hilarious. And they just like react to the most ridiculous segments. So I think that'd be super fun to do.
Yeah. One day, it's in that bucket, right?
it's in that bucket of stuff where maybe.
More of a dumpster now. It's getting bigger.
Yeah, it's getting larger. It's getting larger. Yeah, soon it'll be a storage unit.
Yeah, Buffy's at the bottom.
All right. We got two more, and then we're gonna start with the patrons. So we got Phaser Face. Are you going to yell, "I'm Captain Kirk" at your wrestling booking?
Yes. I'm going to do my chops. I'm going to do my shitty drop kick. I'm going to do my Scotty beam me up and do a dive. Yeah, I have a whole arsenal. It's going to be great.
And then we have Eddie. TOS question. Do you remember Kyle, Riley, DeSalle? DeSalle doesn't ring a bell as much to me. Riley, of course, I know from the Naked Time when he takes over that control room, I think, right? That's Riley, right? And then Kyle, of course, Lieutenant Kyle. We missed him. He was in one of the movies. I don't remember which one, but we missed him. I'm like, damn it, Lieutenant Kyle, he was so good at blending in the background that we missed him.
Yeah, Janice and Chapel were in Voyage Home, like, completely blended in.
Yeah.
It's like, it wasn't until I looked up behind the scenes and went back and watched. I'm like, oh my God, they are in this.
Steve, who is DeSalle?
Yeah.
Sounds familiar.
Sal is in. I know he's in a couple of episodes, but the one that I know him most from is Squire of Gothos.
Okay, so just a guy.
Like my ancestry is French, and and Trelane's does this whole spiel against, does like his French impersonation.
Gotcha. Okay. Okay.
Kyle is actually he's on the Reliant.
Gotcha. All right.
Okay.
Yeah, missed him. We'll have to catch him when whatever it is we watch that movie again.
Second time watching, years
Yeah.
down the road.
He actually says by name when Chekhov and Tyrell go down the planet. He's on the comm. This is Commander Tyrell, or this is Commander Kyle. Please respond. He's right there. It's just kind of like a blink and you'll miss it moment, though.
Oh, damn.
Gotcha. Okay. All right, we're going to finally jump into our patron questions here. Still with the super chats, same thing. Anytime we get a super chat, we'll stop what we're doing and read that when we can. But we're going to jump into our patron comments. Patrons of all tiers were able to ask us anything about these same topics, so there might be some stuff we've kind of already covered, but we're going to go through them. So first, obviously, just want to say a thank you to everybody who left a patron question. Appreciate all you guys over there. It's insane that we have over 300 people signed up there, so that's awesome. But it's a great time for anybody that's not just for TNG. This will, I promise, will be our last time shilling it for at least 2 or 3 minutes. But it's a good time over there. Also, if you're here, like the stream, like the stream. And while we're at that, no, I'm serious. People ask us all the time, like, oh, like, I share your video with my friend, or I put this on a subreddit or whatever. That's awesome. Thank you for doing that. But like, genuinely, as someone who like has to track all this stuff, just liking the video, I know like it's cringe and people, like the video. Like, I get it, but it's truly like when you look at our analytics of videos that got more likes and how they get pushed out versus videos that will have thousands of views and people don't like it, it's like, just like the video. I like every YouTube video I watch now because I have the other perspective. You know what I mean?
I also like every YouTube video I watch.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, just the guilt or
Just
like
common courtesy.
Yeah, it's common courtesy for watching it for free. Yeah, just like
You gotta get one of those animations, those stock animations. Click the like button.
We used to have one. Yeah, we used to have the one I'd put after the reactions, but got rid of it. But I mean, yeah, just for anyone wondering who doesn't make YouTube videos, like, it's not. I know it's cringe. People say it, but it's like they say it because it's true. Like, you could have not that many views, but if you get the the likes on there, the ratio up, like, that's what YouTube looks for. So it is what it is. All right, Talon Starburst with the first patron comment here. From all 4 movies, what is your favorite moment and scene? Steve, I'll let you go first with these questions because we'll have to think about them for a minute. And you're a little bit more, I'm sure you have these movies a little more memorized than us. So what's your favorite moment and scene? And then we'll go.
That would be a tie. I know I put Voyage Home low, but my runner-up would be Sarek and Spock. Any message for your mother? Tell my mother I feel fine. But my favorite one would have to be from the end of Search for Spock, where you're waiting for that moment for, is Spock actually back? And he looks at Kirk and he says, "Jim, your name is Jim." And that beautiful music swells. That's my favorite moment of the movies, hands down.
Well, I'll tell you what's not my favorite. No, I think I have to agree with you on that one because just hearing that theme again was so great. But this is almost my tie runner-up, not in terms of like a good feel moment, but just because it made me laugh so hard. But the voyage home when they're with Jillian and they're doing the tour of the building. And like they're down below and they're looking at the whales and like Kirk has this realization of like, where's Spock? And then just cut to Spock in the tank.
Maybe he's swimming with that man.
That was just like Kirk's reaction to just, oh my God, I've lost him. It's just like such a great moment. But as a serious moment, yeah, just that ending of Search for Spock when we finally got him back, just making us wait for it, and just like, your name is Jim. Mm-hmm. It's like they're back, baby.
Yeah, I was gonna say that as well. For favorite scene would be the end of Search for Spock. Spock kind of coming to, but I'll try to think of another one. As far as favorite scene, even though it's not my favorite movie, as I said, I do think the funeral scene is one of the best scenes in the movie. From Kirk's speech getting choked up, to the whole ceremony, to shooting him out. Like, it really is like, our favorite thing is the characters, and like that's the biggest character moment I think in that movie, and maybe even all the movies. So really love that. But favorite moment though, search for Spock. Kirk says, "Oh, call him on the video call." So they're calling Christopher Lloyd, what's his name, Crouch or whatever, and then Crouch turns on his video, and it's just. It's like, why did you act like you weren't ready?
It's like you knew you were calling him.
Like, imagine, like, I FaceTime you, Alex, and you're like, oh, why is he FaceTiming me? Then you answer, and it's just me.
It's the most dramatic turnaround ever.
I love that so much.
That's one of those YouTube moments where you can put the dramatic beaver music underneath it. And just
Absolutely. All right, next one is from Blaine Mather. You've watched The Cage, which was never broadcast on television but was shown at conventions post-TOS original run to pump up fan excitement for new Trek. That leaves one bit of original Trek media left, the official Star Trek TOS blooper reel, which was also shown by Roddenberry Productions at conventions. Will you watch it at some point? Thank you for adding "at some point" at the end of your question, because yes, we will watch it at some point, probably. But we've gotten a lot of comments, actually. It's very surprising to me. A lot of people wanted us to react to that. We just didn't like fit it in. Like, we just didn't get to it. Maybe, yeah, one day.
I think that'd be fascinating to watch.
Yeah. I mean, again, it's
worth.
my whole thing about reacting to stuff, obviously it's a blooper reel. So like, but like reacting to anything comedy, like I'm always afraid, like, I don't want my reaction to just be a laugh track. It's like, you can watch the blooper reel on your own and laugh, but I understand that people want to see us like watch the blooper reel. So I get it. So we'll probably watch it eventually. I always try to add some type of commentary or thoughts, and it's hard to do that for a blooper reel. Like, you're just watching bloopers. We're just going to be laughing the whole time.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, we'll
Drink
see.
some beer. Just make it a gas. You know?
Yeah. Colin Freeman, longtime patron. Thank you, Colin. If you could change one thing about any of the first 4 movies, what would it be and why? Do you already have an answer?
Well, you know how I feel about kids. And whether they're children or adults. I don't know. I've grown on David, and I know that the actor passed away, actually, and that's super sad. Especially when you see my reaction in Search for Spock when he fucking dies. It's like, oh, I think about that, like, oh, God, I feel like an asshole.
It's media. It's media.
It's media. Like, I don't know, I guess it is.
Yeah, you're not laughing at the actor. You know,
Yeah.
you're not laughing at Garrett. He had nothing to do with that.
I guess it's an arc. He does have an arc. He's like cold and like an asshole at first, and he comes around like, I'm glad to be your son. But I don't know. It's like, I really don't know of what I would change. Maybe don't have Spock comically bump into a wall.
Uh-oh. He was blind.
Bonk.
Here we go. Game's over.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mine would also be in Wrath of Khan. Just have Kirk and Khan be face to face. Like, that's all I would want.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just have the climax, you know. You could even still have all the same stuff. Khan's broken down, whatever, however you do it, but just have him at least once, hopefully in the climactic end battle, but even if not, just at some point in the movie. Maybe even when he first, if not the climax, when he first gets revealed, when he takes off that mask and it's Khan, have that be in front of Kirk, instead of just he shows up on a view screen and Kirk's like, it's Khan, you know. Again, this is fantasy booking here, but that's what the question was, so that's my answer. What about you, Steve? Oh, I'm sorry.
You know, that's a tricky one. I'm probably going to get some flack for this, but I would change the soundtrack in Star Trek 4.
Oh, no. That's an interesting one.
James Horner was supposed to come back and reprise soundtrack duties, which I think would have made those 3 movies feel more like a cohesive trilogy. Leonard Rosenman's soundtrack for Star Trek 4 has never done it for me, and Josh, you even had a moment in the hospital chase when they're pushing Chekhov. What is this music? Is this really necessary? It's like, it doesn't quite, I mean, it fits the tone, but other than that, like, yeah, they're all pretty good. I really wouldn't change anything. Maybe cut some of the visual effects out of the motion picture. I know I said that. People don't like that. People really don't like that when you say that. Oh, cut some of the visual effects. You don't have any attention span. That's your problem.
We don't. We don't. Yeah. Well, I was thinking about setting up a second TV under our TV, and we're trying to play Subway Surfers footage.
To keep people interested.
Yeah. All right. Moving on here to Dion James Pittman over on Patreon. What are your thoughts on the brief glimpses of 23rd century Earth that we've seen and been told about so far?
It was nice to finally see it in the motion picture. I'm like, oh, that's what it looks like. Okay, because they've referenced it, or like anytime we do see Earth, it's in like the past at that time period. So to finally see it, it was like, ooh, neat. Especially in was it Search for Spock? Because Spock's dead at the beginning, and they're back in Kirk's quarters with Sarek, and we get to see them more in their civilian clothes. Yeah, just fascinating. I loved it.
Yeah, I liked it. I don't need to see a ton of it, but I liked seeing more, especially in Star Trek 3 in the first act, seeing more of Starfleet. That's not really Earth per se, but just seeing more of the world was nice. But I don't need to see a ton of it because I'm just afraid that the more you see, the more it starts to fall apart and not make sense, and like, why are things like this? So I'm okay being away from Earth, but I just like more so seeing just more of the future, just the future in general, which has been nice. Anything from you, Steve, on that? I mean, through the TOS and the TOS movies?
Well, what I would say is that it's actually remarkably consistent from like Court Martial and Operation Annihilate all the way through the movies, even into the new shows. What future Earth looks like is pretty consistent across. It's actually remarkable that over 60 years they were able to keep it pretty consistent what the future looks like. So that would be my only thing to say on that.
We got a super chat, so I'll jump to this. Phaser Face says, TMP Commander Decker is the son of Commodore Matthew Decker from the Doomsday Machine, FYI. Yes, I think I said that in our reaction as like I was curious, and then afterwards, yeah, I'm pretty sure that was just confirmed, but just didn't make the movie. I wish it would have made a movie just because it would have been a nice additional, like, oh, he hates Kirk because he thinks he had to do with the death of his father. That'd have been nice.
Yeah. Yeah, that would have added some weight to it. Like, or like he had something to do with like his father's death. Like, one of the most fascinating things I think about in terms of the Star Wars universe is the lore of people thinking that like Luke Skywalker went into the Emperor's throne room with the Emperor and Darth Vader and was the only one who walked out alive. And just like that, like aura, it's like, and maybe there's some sort of aura with like how like this captain died or something.
Because they don't know about Vader's face turn.
Yeah. Maybe they don't know about Decker's, or whatever. Maybe there's something like that they could have explored, but they needed some shots of that Enterprise, man.
Yeah, gotta have shots of the Enterprise. Anthony Bernacci over on Patreon says, if you were members of the Enterprise crew, in which department would you want to serve? Command, sciences, or support, like security engineering?
I want to be one of those off-screen, there's over 400 people.
Lower decks?
Yeah. One of those, what are those other jobs? Because in a space seed, like the one woman was just in charge of like what
the history.
Yeah, the history. So
yeah.
Something odd like that. Like in the one area of the Enterprise that no one goes to.
They have a film study job.
Study old tape.
A reactor section.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that.
Yeah, I'd go with engineering, even though it's kind of dangerous. Dangerous in engineering. A lot of people die in engineering.
A lot of people die, and there's a lot of pressure on you. You have to be a miracle worker. Like, I mean, look at Scott. I mean, he went so much stress over the years. He grew that mustache, and
that's what it was.
He aged a lot in those 10 years.
What about you, Steve?
I mean, everybody likes to say command, but most of us would not make good commanders. Let's just be real.
I would not.
I think engineering would actually be where I'd be comfortable. I'd like to work with machines, figure out how that stuff works.
Hell yeah!
Try not to blow it up.
Being a commander or captain of a ship, no way, man.
Even first officer, it's like, Captain, don't get in too much danger. I'm not taking this over. How about just an ensign?
I want to be one of those football helmet guys from the motion picture.
All right. This is from Ken R. on Patreon. Why do you think the world believes William Shatner can't act?
Was he bad on T.J. Hooker or something? Because as far as I know, his Star Trek performances pitch perfect. I mean, being a captain of the Enterprise is you're acting as an actor. You know what I mean? You have to put on this firm captain's face, but doing that, you're as that character, you're also acting. So it's like double acting when you're a captain. It's weird. I don't know. Did people just see like the finale of season 3 where does the whole
Yeah.
that famous GIF or GIF, whatever it is, where he goes when the woman's
Yeah.
acting as him.
And it's not like he falls apart in the movies either.
No,
Yeah,
no.
I don't know. There was like maybe 2 or 3 times, especially in the 3rd season of the show, where I went like, all right, he phoned that in, that one take or that one scene, but for the most part, he was great. So I don't know, Steve, you could probably have more insight on that.
Honestly, it's the different. It's kind of like the even odd thing with the Star Trek movies. It's pop culture. You've got actors like Jason Alexander who do their "risk is our business," impersonation, and that's what people know of William Shatner's performance. They don't really ever see, what if I'm wrong, Bones? The really intense command performance that he gives. He's a Shakespearean actor. He was on stage. He was not some guy. Let me put it this way: if the cast from The Cage had been the cast in the series, we wouldn't be talking about Star Trek right now. William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy, head and shoulders above the rest of the cast. And I mean no disrespect to the rest of the cast. But William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy are the reason Star Trek was such a success for so long.
There you go.
They put in the work.
Yeah,
There you go.
makes sense to me.
Right.
Prof Moff threw in a $10 super chat, no question there, but thank you, Prof Moff, for that. We're going to jump on to the next patron question here. David Wayne Fox asked us, which moment from the show or movies most brought you to genuine tears? I think Spock's funeral, I think, is the only one.
Yeah, nothing in the show really made me cry. I mean, there's emotional reactions or like what reactions, but
Yeah.
nothing to tears. But yeah, Spock's death.
I would say if I had to choose one from the show, it would be This Side of Paradise Spock. For the first time in my life, I was happy.
Yes,
But I didn't cry, though.
That was painful, but it wasn't tear jerking.
Yeah. Anything from you, Steve? I'm guessing Spock's death also had a big impact once you saw that, maybe, or?
From the series, it would be the end of City on the Edge of Forever. From Edith's death all the way to Let's Get the Hell Out of Here. And then from the movies, it's not going to be Spock's death because I saw the movies out of sequence. I saw 1, 3, 2, 4, 5, 6. So I knew Spock was dead by the end of the 2. I knew he was going to die. It's still a sad moment, but for me, the destruction of the Enterprise, because I was a little kid, the Enterprise was my favorite thing in the world, and to see it they don't just blow it up, they take it apart in pieces and burn the registry, and then boom, like
a lot
they
of
murder
people
that
a
shit.
lot of people were shocked. I don't know if shocked is too strong, but a lot of people on the Star Trek 3 reaction commented about how we didn't really react that much to that moment, in which I think I said something, we talked about it when it happened, but we weren't crying or like freaking out. I don't know. I obviously love the Enterprise, but yeah, it didn't have like an emotional impact on me. It was just like, wow, bold choice.
Yeah. That was spoiled for me from Red Letter Media.
Damn it.
I knew it was going to blow up at some point.
Oh, at some point?
At some point, yeah.
From the trailer for the movie.
Yeah, I heard that. That's crazy.
Death of Enterprise. Boom.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Classic. Even back then, they were shitty with trailers.
I think they're even worse, to be honest. All right, next one. James Bodis over on Patreon. Now that you've seen how the Space Seed to Wrath of Khan story played out, which TOS episode would you have chosen to get sequelized into the movies?
Well, I'll tell you which ones I don't want. No. Let me pull up the episode list. You can go first.
Okay. We'll get sequelized into the movies. I'm trying to. Oh, dude, a Harry Mudd movie. Come on now.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
We got to do a Harry Mudd movie. The Return of Harry Mudd.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Just, God, but something where you think he's gonna be the villain, but he's actually like your like partner or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Absolutely. But since that was your answer, let me think of one for me.
What about you, Steve, while he's looking for that?
Well, just to take the opportunity to share a little bit of nerd trivia, Star Trek does pretty good anniversary stuff. I won't spoil what they do, What they planned to do and didn't do was a sequel to A Piece of the Action.
Mm.
They were going to have a crew from one of the newer shows go to that planet and find out that it basically turned into an original series convention wherever they were all dressed up like TOS characters. So I thought that would have been a lot of fun. They put that one to the side. I think they made the right choice, but that would have been a cool one.
You find anything?
Yeah, you know what? I would love to see a sequel to Mirror Mirror.
Well, you do when Star Trek
Oh.
continues.
Oh,
oh, no, oh,
oh, great.
No, but yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just I don't know, just something.
Multiverse of Madness.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I love to see what evil Spock has. See if he's changed the world at all over there.
Okay, so you'd want to see those
Right.
same characters, that same universe.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
See how things are going.
For sure.
Don't ask me to write a script for it on the spot, because give me some time. at least.
Spoilers.
And then I'll go with the next question here on Patreon. Jeff Cornell. There are several recurring types of stories through the series: Kirk vs. Computer, a villain with a god complex, a planet that's like an alternate version of Earth, etc. What's your favorite recurring type of story in the series? We've talked a lot about stuff that gets on our nerves, but what was your favorite recurring type of episode?
Oh Jesus Christ.
I'd probably go with the. It wouldn't be the god complex.
No, I guess like any like theme that where it put like faith in humanity, I guess, or it's like like just I don't know Kirk's humanity and ability as a leader, like shines through what other bullshit has been put in, because it's tough when we talk about themes or like reoccurring enemies. It's usually in a negative light, so it's hard to think of one in a good light. I mean, a good example would be a recent one we watched on patreon.com/TNG
The TNG, yeah.
of just being like a good human being, whatever. But
Yeah, I'd say anything that includes a love story, Metamorphosis, This Side of Paradise, City on the Edge of Forever, anything that has some type of love story, and it doesn't have to just be romantic. One of the characters in the crew meets up with a woman. Like, it can be expanded. Even some of the more like brotherly love, friendship stuff, like an Immunity Syndrome between Spock and Bones and Kirk. Just different episodes like that have those themes. Again, more character stuff. I always like those types of stories where the sci-fi is on just the backdrop. I like both extremes. Either just have the sci-fi be the backdrop and tell me a really awesome human character story, or just go all sci-fi. Like those two extremes I really love. What about you, Steve?
Well, it's funny you say that because in the Star Trek Bible, that's basically what Gene said. This is the format, and this is as expansive as we can go. We can do crazy science fiction nonsense, or we can do a really real human story about a really real issue. For me, I think it is when they get that mixture just right, where whichever way they're going, as long as they get that mixture really right, and the core of the story has something to say. Not like, oh, I have a political message, but it's not just nonsense. It has something that's going to resonate with you when you're done watching it. Those are the good episodes in my book.
yeah, have your political message, but just like tell it in a good story, and don't just shove it down our face and make it obvious. You know what I mean? It's like have us think about it, or tell us a story, and when we start thinking about it, like, oh my god, that's a allegory metaphor for this or whatever.
Yeah.
And not just don't show us like current news footage.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I mean, let that be your last battlefield is racism is dumb. Like, it doesn't get any more. It's great. I love that episode, but that is literally racism is dumb.
But they still made the episode good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like I remember pointing it out. I'm like, oh my god, like their faces are switched. Didn't even notice, and that's like a total thing. Like, what's the difference between you and I? You know what I mean? It's like, I thought it was good.
Yeah. We got another super chat here from Prof Moff. I have figured it. I'm guessing they mean I figured it out. And in 5 years and two episodes a week, you will finally start my second favorite Star Trek TV series, Enterprises. I'm guessing they mean Enterprise. Do you think you will make that 5-year mission? I hope so, unless something happens either to one of us health-wise or our friendship. Major falling out.
Over
Agree on
disagreement.
DS9. Game
What's that?
I said couldn't agree on DS9. Game over.
Where you say major disagreement?
Major disagreement. It's the Next Generation season 5, episode blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Channel shut down.
Oh yeah, this will be a future YouTube title. This episode made Alex storm off, mad at Josh. Yeah. Yeah, imagine if we got as mad at each other about our Star Trek takes as people get mad at us.
Oh my god. Luckily, we're pretty much on the same page.
Yeah. I like having disagreements though too.
Yeah.
All right. Back to the Patreon. Andrea Schmidt, longtime patron, thank you. Says, has it been fun to interact with us patrons and enjoy the TOS era? And is there anything you would like us to do differently going forward into the next generation?
Love interacting with patrons. Yes, it's great. I scroll through all the comments, unless if it's a see more and there's like 8 paragraphs, I might skim through it. But it's not like the YouTube comments where it's like, all right, you guys are stupid. Listen, you know what I mean?
I had this conversation with Alex earlier. There are a lot of really good really good YouTube comments, but really positive ones. It's just that they're just thrown in that mix. You know what I mean? It's harder to find them. No, I don't want to even say that. It's not hard to find. There's a lot of them, but it's just like the negative ones stick out more because it's like it's negative.
Yeah, it's like there's a reason the news is what it is, because bad news makes the news. No one cares about good news. So it's like anytime I see anything negative, I'm like, you mother.
also too, if you've ever like commented a negative comment, I clap back at people sometimes in the YouTube comments, but I've mostly stopped and restrained myself. But on Patreon, it's not all people just praising us. Like I've gotten into arguments with people on our Patreon. I welcome people still disagreeing with us, still telling us they think we got it wrong. I mean, when that Wrath of Khan reaction full uncut hit the Patreon, we had plenty of people that pushed back on us, and we like that and we invite that. So it's not all just people praising us. I would say I've obviously really enjoyed it. In terms of anything different on the Patreon, I would just say I don't know. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I don't think so. You guys are all cool. I don't know.
Yeah, it's great. I like it. But yeah,
don't spoil stuff. There's been like a few comments we've had to delete, but I mean that's just obvious.
Yeah, clarification. I'm not saying don't say anything negative or anything. Just don't be an asshole.
yeah. Don't be like us assholes. Steve, you want to say anything on that just from the patron perspective?
Well, that's. I don't think that any changes need to come down the pipe. Personally, I think most of the people are pretty well behaved, honestly. As far as community comment sections go, I mean, there's some tussles here and there. Josh has had to beat a couple of people over the head with a nightclub, but, it's fine. We're good.
Yeah. If anything, we're always looking for how we can make the Patreon better and the YouTube channel better. What changes can we make? We're always thinking about that from a production standpoint, community, all of that. So, that's what we're thinking about. But next one here is from JD, and he says, "Who wins first prize for old school gravitas, Mark Leonard or Leonard Nimoy?" Ooh, I gotta give it to Mark Leonard, the Edge. He's just the best. He's just the best Vulcan I've ever seen.
Wait, old school gravitas, meaning...
Steve, define old school gravitas.
Shakespearean, just old school acting, just has that je ne sais quoi.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry, but Mark Leonard, just his presence is, when he comes on screen, it's like, this guy has done some stuff. You see, like, maybe because we've grown used to Spock. Maybe because we've grown with him for 3 seasons of a TV show and for the most of 4 movies at this point. But whenever Mark Leonard comes on screen, it feels special almost, because especially like one of the very few recurring characters from TOS that made it to the movies. Probably in the movies more than he was in TOS.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
which is weird.
Yeah,
but like he just like you can tell he's like an actor's actor, man, and he just gets the script, does his job, it does it well. It's like, you know what? And this isn't at a detriment of Leonard Nimoy. I just think, I don't know what it is about Mark, but he's got it, whatever it is.
I mean, Leonard Nimoy, he's his father's son, Mark Leonard. They're not actually father and son. But yeah, I mean, Spock's great too, but, Mark Leonard, man, he's like one of my favorite actors.
Yeah, he's fantastic.
Just from this. Would you agree, Steve?
I mean, case in point, Star Trek 3, that reaction, the moment that door opens, both of you, your eyes just, Sarek.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like,
That
oh
energy.
shit, he's here. You know what I mean? Like, you don't really do that for anyone else, really. But it's
Yeah.
like he just commands that presence. He commands your attention.
Or when he showed up at the beginning of Star Trek 4 and you just like he starts talking, I think, off screen before he comes on, and we have subtitles on whenever we're watching something, so like it said Sarek, in the subtitle, and we're like, oh shit, you're done, like you're getting destroyed.
It's over.
Yeah, the joke is over. So these next three are all about the movies, so I'm just going to read them all off so we can answer them. Jonathan says, what surprised you the most about the movies? Cat with attitude, what plot point shocked you the most in the movies? So those are kind of similar there, but Cat with attitude getting a little more specific to the plot point. And then Tyrannus fan, after seeing movies 1 through 4, what is your prediction for what will happen in 5? Funny answers only. Whatever you want to start with.
I gotta say, what shocked us the most is just like the whole time travel whale plot. Like, I did not see that coming at all. With a title like The Voyage Home, I just expected it to just be like this wacky adventure, stopping at different planets, just trying to make it back to Earth. But then all of a sudden we're time traveling and they're talking to whales. I'm like, and there's this giant cigar probe thing. I'm like, I did not. That was the most shocking thing to me. I'm like, what is this? I did not expect this to be the finale of this trilogy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What was the first question?
So surprised you most about the movies, and then what plot point shocked you the most? But I guess the time travel or the whales would be the plot point.
Yeah. First part again. I'm sorry.
No, it's the same thing. Yeah. What surprised you the most about the movies? What plot point shocked you the most?
Okay. Maybe surprised me just how different they all were. Like,
Yeah.
I often think about you think about the Halloween movies or the Friday the 13th movies. It's all the same, just a little bit at the most minimal different. But like the Star Trek movies, completely different.
In a good way, too.
Yeah, in genre, tone, execution, and it's so refreshing to see sequels that are different.
Yeah. I would say that what surprised me most generally about the movies is that I liked them all. I expected to hate at least one of these 4 movies just because our expectations are always low, and like, I feel like I'm also pretty tough. I talked to Steve a little bit about this off stream before, but like with TV, with Star Trek and TV, it's like I don't really consider myself like a TV guy. Like I watch some TV, I like some stuff, but it's like movies, I watch a lot of movies. So like going into the Star Trek movies and jumping that medium, I knew like I'm going to be a much tougher critic because like these are movies. I'm judging them on their own as a movie. And I'm surprised I didn't like I genuinely liked / loved all 4 of them. So that was my biggest general surprise. And then plot point that shocked me the most in the movies. I don't know if this was a plot point, but I'll say plot point in terms of just Spock's parents' involvement, how much Sarek was in it, and then also Amanda showing up and it being the original actress. Sarek coming back is one thing, like, yeah, that's impressive, that's cool, but pulling back the actress who played Amanda from one episode of TOS 20 years ago, like, that's insane to me that they did that, and good for them.
Yeah.
And then after seeing the first 4 movies, what was your prediction for what will happen in 5? Funny answers only. I think the funniest answer is that we're gonna love 5 is my prediction.
Yeah, it's definitely the funniest answer. I think. Oh, jeez. Okay. It's gonna open at their home. Blah blah blah. They're in the ocean. It's gonna cut. It's gonna start right from the beginning. They're going to be washing off because they were just in the water. Oh, that was fun. We're back. We saved the world. And then Savik's going to be there. And it's like, oh my God. And she's holding a baby. What's this baby? And it's going to have blonde, curly hair. So it was David's kid.
Oh no.
Not Spock's kid. And the entire movie... I have to think more, but that's how
we're drafted. I'm gonna also use David, and I'm gonna say David haunts Kirk, Insidious style, throughout the film.
You left me on Genesis.
You let me die. And Kirk has to enter what do they call it in Insidious? It's not the upside down. It's like the other.
The further.
The further. Kirk must enter the further to reconcile with David.
He's gonna have a stupid Conjuring 2-esque ending. Oh God.
All right. Um, Philip on Patreon says turn either Kirk, Spock, or Bones into a female character. Which one do you choose and who would you cast? You can pick any actress, regardless of age.
Okay. I think I would turn Bones female and
I already know what you're.
shut up. You already know what I'm doing. And I would cast Gates McFadden as the female doctor.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they did that in Star Trek: The Next Generation. Yeah, I don't know.
I would turn Spock into a female because we got to see Saavik as a female Vulcan, but she's not, Robin Curtis in 3 and 4 isn't in it a ton. I would just like to see more of a female Vulcan because it just adds an extra layer of like, it's a Vulcan. What's that like? We see so much of the male Vulcan perspective. We only meet a few female Vulcans in the show, and they're like not at all like Spock. Like T'Pring wasn't at all like Spock, so it's like I would like to see, but then Saavik was basically a clone of Spock. So, even, not the Kirstie Alley version per se, but with the half Romulan part in there. But that's probably the one I would choose. And then in terms of actress, I don't know. I'll just say my favorite actress. So I guess Amy Adams. I guess I don't know. I can't think of any that would like fit a Vulcan per se. Someone weird looking. I don't know.
Huh. I guess serious answer because I think she's one of my favorite actresses right now. Probably still Bones. Just Emily Blunt.
Emily Blunt, yeah, Star Trek, that'd be cool.
Yeah, I think Emily Blunt is like one of the best actors working right now. But she plays her character from Oppenheimer. So she's just drinking.
That is basically Bones.
So she's just drinking in the med bay the entire time.
Yeah, or maybe that's more Scotty, yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Steve?
Well, you stole my fucking answer. I was going to say Emily Blunt for Kirk.
Oh, wow.
Emily
Nice.
Blunt for Kirk? Okay. I can see it.
You wouldn't go Brie Larson for Kirk?
As Captain.
As Captain? Captain Kirk? Come on now. All right.
Oh my God. Easy. Let's not get canceled here.
All right. It's extremely tame. Okay. I liked Captain Marvel, the movie. Anyway, Carl Peterson says, if you can add one character from the original series to the next generation and vice versa, which one would it be and why? Now, we're talking extremely first impressions. We've only seen 6 episodes of the next generation, so we're not going to spoil how we feel about anything yet. But I would definitely add Geordi to the original series. I think that'd be a great addition. And then as far as adding to next generation, I would love to have seen. I don't want to say anything without like spoiling it too much. I'll just say I would have loved to seen Bones stick around in the next generation, I guess is the best way to put it.
As his old self. I mean, shit. But
they know what's coming.
Yeah, they
but,
know.
But
But-
no, not quite that much. Not quite that
What?
much. Yeah, not quite that much. But like Bones was already grumpy. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
It would have been nice to see him as like a mentor in some way. But yeah, what about you?
I would love to see Data in TOS because I just hooked on the Data as soon as I started seeing him. Like, I love this guy. Or Q, maybe.
Oh, Q. Okay, that's
Maybe.
an interesting one. Yeah.
Tie between those two. I would love to see Kirk and Q duke it out because Picard and Q is such a good contrast. I would love to see Kirk and Q just to see how different it would be. And to add to the next generation, I would have to go Scotty because the lack of
Of an
engineer.
So far in what we've seen,
So,
yeah.
and so far what we've seen, a lack of an engineer. Yeah, I would love to. Picard and Scotty arguing. I can't do it. Figure it out.
Yeah. Scotty, figure it out. What about you, Steve?
Oh, honestly, I'm going to say this. By season 3, the TNG cast is perfect.
Oh,
I wouldn't want to change either one. The memories of both are so beautiful. But that's all I'm going to say. I'm just going to say there's some freaks. And you guys are going to be really happy. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, in 2054, when we get there.
To season 3.
And how about vice versa?
If I was going to put somebody on TNG from in the first season, I would agree. Yeah, Scotty. definitely. They don't have that push from below like they do in TOS.
All right.
It's just like whoever. They just pull somebody off the. Okay, come in here. You're the engineer this week.
I was thinking Worf to have a Klingon in TOS, but they would have ruined him because they didn't know what a Klingon was yet, and he would have just been like in some ridiculous makeup or something.
Yeah, just an actor always in
Or
blackface.
just
All right. Prof Moff on Patreon says, "What is the biggest and surprising thing about Star Trek TOS you really had no idea you would get from it before you start watching it?" Loving the characters would be me. I thought it was gonna be a goofy camp show, which some episodes it is later on, but just loving the characters.
Yeah, just how serious it is and how real and deep and strong it is. When I first heard of TOS, I thought it was like a goofy 15-minute sci-fi camp show where it's like, oh my God, Gorn, you know what I mean, like something.
Yeah.
And then like just by the first episode, and like especially the first four, I mean Naked Time especially, it's like, oh my God, did not expect it to be as what's the word I'm looking for?
Cerebral.
Just like it's like this is amazing TV. This isn't
Yeah.
like, garbage camp TV made for $10. This is something else.
Yeah, for sure. Next question here is from Badger. He says, "When I was 10 or 12, my hero was Captain Kirk. He was cooler than my dad. He won the fights, outsmarted the computers, and got the girl. If you had grown up watching Trek, who do you think would have been your hero?" I think we're about to hit an ad, so we'll wait on that for a second, but we'll answer that question in just a little bit. And then we just got a few more patron questions here. So since we're in an ad right now, I'll just say for anyone who is still here and doesn't see the ad, because I don't think it shows it to everybody. Yeah, we said it before, but we have a green screen background now. If you're on Patreon, you know this from our last few videos, but not in the first episode, not the first reaction to TNG, but we got this. We're going to have a different background moving forward. I think it just brings a new vibe to the videos.
Yeah, it's different. There's more fun stuff we can do with it. Yeah, I think we're always trying to, keep the thing growing. You know what I mean? Like looking back to where we started, like, just webcam. I had nothing on my wall behind me and shit. Now we're in person. It's like, okay, we're always looking for ways to make it better. I mean, further down the road, I would love to get a studio somewhere, a little tiny building, and like film some more sketches like we did for the motion picture in a park somewhere, but also do some ridiculous stuff. I mean, not to the detriment of what the content is, where I don't want it to be distracting, but it's like finding that balance and just keeping things fresh and new.
Steve, what have you thought about the change so far with our new backgrounds?
hate it.
I mean, I would like you to know.
No, I actually have an idea. I'm not gonna say it out loud because
Okay.
you ruin the surprise if you do use it. But I'm gonna off stream. I'll share that with you. But no, I think it's fun. I do. I think it's really fun.
Cool.
And it'll be what's cool about it if you continue it is each series can have its own theme.
Yeah.
Um,
For sure. All right, I think we're back now. So we'll answer this question from Badger. Who, if you were watching Trek growing up, who would have been your hero?
Kirk.
Yeah, Kirk.
Kirk's my
It's
hero
Kirk,
now. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, I love that guy.
I mean, just the way they frame him and everything in the show. I mean, it would have to be him. Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah.
All right. And then we have, I think this is Christopher, I think would be how you pronounce it, on Patreon. Although it would have been nice to have seen Harry Mudd and some of the old Klingon commanders, they did briefly bring back Khan, Spock's parents, Yeoman Rand, Nurse Chapel, and Kyle. Any crewman, person, or alien you wish that had brought back for at least a cameo? I think he's saying outside of Harry Mudd. I would have loved to see more of the Gorn, of course.
Yes. Yeah, the Gorn is like one of those classic, when people think of Star Trek who aren't really into it, they always think of that fight. Maybe because of how cheesy it is, but it's also super classic, that fight. I know people like go to like tourism spots to where they fought or whatever, in that canyon or whatever it is. So like, I think it was briefly touched upon in TAS. Wasn't there a Gorn in that one?
He was just sitting there, yeah.
Yeah, in that council, in that middle world or whatever. It's like, yeah, I would love to see the Gorn modernized, maybe touched up a little bit, still practical, but not look as goofy. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Steve?
Well, it's like fantasy football time here, but yeah, kind of the Gorn would be my pick too. If you could get Stan Winston Studios to do a Gorn,
Mm,
oh, oh yeah,
mm.
That'd been
like the
nuts.
Predator or something on
Oh
that
my
level of
God.
detail.
Now that you say Predator, imagine the same Predator movie, but instead of like the Predator, it's a Gorn.
The remake one, the Shane Black one, or the original?
The original.
Oh, the original. Damn.
Yeah, if it was a Gorn instead of what it is.
What if when he was fighting Christopher Lloyd, the planet was dying and like he's about to have him when suddenly the ground shakes, it comes out of the ground. It makes no sense. Why would it be on this planet?
A Gorn
Yeah, why would it
Save-
be on Genesis?
saves Kirk.
Or no, yeah, you think he's gonna
Yeah.
fight Kirk, but then he kicks Christopher Lloyd.
And they do that thing like in Spider-Man 3 where like Harry like helps Peter up.
Yeah.
And they team up. Oh,
and then the Gorn dies at the end.
Kirk's crying.
Yeah. Oh, that's hilarious.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Love that fan booking.
Let's see here. Ryan on Patreon said, given the movie's revamp of the Klingons in culture and aesthetic, are you predicting that the Romulans will receive similar treatment going forward?
I would love to see all TOS aliens come back at some point, revamped, re-explored, explored deeper. Like, I won't go into spoilers on the aliens we've seen so far in TNG, but like, right now they're making me miss those TOS aliens, and I would love to see Romulans. What's that blue one you always reference?
Andorians?
Andorians, yeah. Not Bem.
Not Bem. No.
Not Bem from TAS. But it'd be really dumb, but I would really love to see de-aged Clint Howard. Make an appearance somewhere. But
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think of every creature in TOS that's not in the main crew. I think Romulans were the most perfect because they're simple. It's an offshoot of Vulcans that are more aggressive. I think is like the vibe they're going for. More war geared or whatever. And I liked them. I really loved the Enterprise incident. The female Romulan captain, one of the best characters, side characters. So I would love to see. I wouldn't like to see them all changed up and stuff. Just have more of them. I'd be down for that. All right. Captain Proton, nice name, says, what's your favorite ship design-wise so far? I'm not a ship guy, so I'm going to go with the station wagon shuttle from TOS. What was it, the Galileo?
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, geez, favorite ship. I really like the Enterprise.
The Enterprise, yeah.
I'm simple.
Which one? The original? A?
I mean, yeah, I guess. I mean, I think it was kind of cool seeing. Was it whichever one Khan commandeered? I mean, that was a cool design because it was basically upside down. But yeah, I'm a sucker for the original.
What about you, Steve?
It would be a toss-up between the refit Enterprise and the Klingon Katinga battlecruiser. That thing is just mean in that opening sequence against V'ger. It's just got that aggressive look to it that I love.
Especially when it got destroyed.
Three times.
We got a super chat from Eddie. He says, a hot take. I don't know. What they did to the Klingons after TOS culturally, I don't like. Interesting concept, but it falls extremely flat. It falls extremely flat in execution to me.
Screenshot.
For when we find out?
No, because the original Klingons were just
Oh, okay.
people in blackface.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like TOS, they were just finding it out. Like they were like figuring it out. You know what I mean? And then I feel like we haven't dived deep into Worf in the 6 episodes we've watched, but through the movies, I mean, I love the Christopher Lloyd Klingon. I loved it.
I was worried when I first saw him. I'm like, oh god, it's fucking Christopher. It's Doc Brown.
Yeah.
I mean, this was before he was Doc Brown, but
or Morty.
but from our perspective, it's Doc Brown. But like, God, he grew on me, and like, God, I loved him as an antagonist. He was great.
Yeah. Rocket Robin Hood over on Patreon said, Star Trek has been a live action series, an animated cartoon, and a series of films. If you could have one more original Trek in just one of those formats, would you rather have another 2 seasons of TOS, making it the 5-year mission, another 43 episodes of TAS, or another 3-film arc set before Wrath of Khan? So, kind of like basically in the 3 films in the 70s instead of waiting until 79. Easy for me, 2 seasons of TOS.
2 seasons of TOS.
If they tried. I mean, season 3 was already getting bad. They were almost canceled. Like, I don't want to see 2 more seasons where no one's trying and they don't care, even though we liked season 3. But if it's 2 real seasons, then absolutely TOS.
Yeah, 2 seasons of like original stories, absolutely. Like, I don't need to see 3 more movies that might be offshoots or similar to TV episodes. I just want to see 3 completely original. I mean, I just want to see 2 completely original seasons. Sure, you might have some bad ones in there, but I just miss TOS so goddamn much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would love to see it continued.
And
Not Star Trek continues.
we don't want to continue that way.
Not continue that
Someone
way.
commented on our video, they were like, "We get it. You don't want to watch Star Trek continues." One day.
That's our personality. We just make the same jokes.
Yeah, we just make the same joke.
About the same thing over and
Yeah,
over again.
sorry, we're not that creative. So I just want to say real quick, my mind can still change. We have a lot to watch, but I think Star Trek, I'll take a season of television of Star Trek over a Star Trek film like any day. Like, I think for what I like of Star Trek, give me 22 episodes or whatever of a season over a film. I really like the films, but they just don't really compare to me.
All right. Do you want to start Star Trek Picard season 1? See it, and
We'll get there. We'll get there. Yeah, maybe my mind will be changed by then.
yeah, maybe, but just by what I hear, I'm sure that'll be fun. I can't wait. Maybe we'll like it.
Real quick, Steve, would you be any different on that, or would you take more TOS?
I would definitely take more TOS. I mean, if you look at what the not trying to keep bringing up continues here, but a lot of the fan film stuff is fans wanting more TOS. That's why those shows exist. So, yeah, I think everybody's pretty much on agree. If you love TOS, you want more of it.
Yeah.
So
We got a
that'd be
really
my answer.
generous super chat here from Mike R. Stan. Thank you very much. He says, I appreciate you guys reacting to all of the animated episodes. I'm not sure if any channel has done that before. They haven't. I'm a longtime Star Trek fan that hadn't seen most of them, but I have now thanks to you.
Wow, it's weird. I didn't realize like how non-watched the animated series was.
Yeah.
Like, it almost feels like even less than the Clone Wars, or Star Trek,
yeah.
or Star Wars Rebels. Like, those are like main staples in Star Wars that people haven't watched. But the way people talk about like these hardcore fans of Star Trek not even watching Star Trek Continues, I'm like, oh man, that's even, you know what I'm saying? Because for the most part, it's just casuals not watching
Yeah.
Rebels or
Clone
or
Wars.
Clone Wars, but some hardcores not even watching the animated series. I mean, TAS. It's
We got
crazy.
we got a lot of comments that were like, when we started watching TAS, of people who were like, "Oh, you're watching this? I think I saw a few episodes when I was a kid, never really saw it." And yeah, I was surprised too. But I mean, Steve, you might have more insight on this. I don't think after it aired, it was like released or ever played again until it was on this box set, right?
I don't. It's weird because people have this impression that Roddenberry hated it, and I don't think Roddenberry gave two shits either way about it. The Cannon thing was his lawyer. You'll hear a lot of the behind the scenes stuff about the first 2 seasons of TNG. It's mostly his lawyer that was making everybody's lives a living hell, and he was the one who, in a meeting, said that's not even in continuity. Who cares? But like, I didn't see the animated series until after Enterprise was over. I was hungry for more Star Trek, and my friend Jim told me, "Hey, there's an animated series." I was like, "What, like Scooby Doo?" Yeah, like that. So it's not well known among Star Trek fans. It's not as well known.
Yeah. We got another one here from Mark Crisco, who says, "Do you think Captain Christopher from Tomorrow Is Yesterday would have made an interesting regular TOS series character?" So do you remember Captain Christopher? That's the guy they take from Earth, right?
Oh, is that like the
astronaut guy?
The astronaut guy? I guess it would be interesting to have like a regular common day or a modern day man on the crew, but would it get overused after a while?
Well, it just gives me vibes of Farscape, which we only watched the first episode of, but I'd rather just watch Farscape than see this like random. Like, if you're gonna have a normal guy be transported to the future, make him the main character, the protagonist, for the everyman, not just like one of the 8 characters that are in the background.
Yeah, where every episode is like, what's this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I would love to watch Farscape, by the way, one day. That's in the bucket too, as a personal choice. I like that pilot
That's
a
a
lot.
banger. That's a banger. for sure. It's a weird show.
And then we have this is the last Patreon one. So after this Patreon question, we're gonna open it up, open Q&A. We'll try to answer as much as possible in the YouTube chat. But last Patreon question from Scarpads Comic Treks. Sorry, Shatner has always been lampooned for hamming it up. I think he's fantastic, especially season 1. Did you have any preconceived opinions, and did they change post TOS?
Family Guy. I always think about, oh my god.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's like, he doesn't do that.
yeah.
He doesn't do it. Like, Kirk's, like, serious scenes, or even his comedic ones, are not that, oh my god.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that Shatner's ability as an actor definitely changed after as soon as I started watching it, but mainly in The Naked Time and The Enemy Within. Those were like, oh my god, this guy can go.
Yeah, I didn't have really any preconceived notions about Kirk specifically. It was more just about the show in general. I thought it was just going to be a goofy, campy, like, space show that, honestly, Battlestar Galactica 1978 fell more into what I thought TOS would be like, with how goofy that sometimes got. Still enjoyed it, but no, yeah, I would agree there for sure. But I think that that's going to do it for our patron questions. So, guys, I'm just reloading it to make sure that no other patrons. Oh, we got one more. We got one more comment. Someone saw the stream and they went and commented.
Oh my god.
Jiri Luza says, I always imagined that probe from Star Trek 4 is a huge aquarium full of whales or some similar species. It would make sense that mass and shape, etc. Oh, that wasn't a question. But that's interesting. Just a bunch of whales inside the probe? That would have been interesting.
You know what? It's one of those things. I've talked about this, but it's like, I don't want to know.
Yeah.
I don't need to know. Like, on some things, I want to know every detail, but other times it's like, it's not about that. It's about the mystery. It's about the big picture. It's like, oh, why did he? It's like, nope, I don't need to know everything
Mystery.
about. Yeah, I don't need to know everything that happens. I don't need to understand the motivations of this thing. It's just a thing that happens.
Yeah. Okay. So
I gotta use the bathroom.
You're gonna use the restroom. Go ahead. I'm gonna give my opening spiel, and then we'll start it when you get back.
Okay. Going into the void.
All right, guys. So we're going to open up the floodgates here for the open Q&A. Not that there's like a whole ton of people here. I mean, I appreciate everyone who's here, but I don't think we'll have too much of a problem getting through them. But if you put any questions in the chat before this, consider this the restart here. Put in your questions now. Obviously, don't include any spoilers. Limit your questions about TNG. If you have very, very general ones, we'll try to answer them, but we're not going to answer anything specific about TNG. The reactions to those will start hitting YouTube next week. I think, as Witcher Joker Armad was saying, try to limit the chat now if you can to just questions. Obviously, if you still want to throw stuff in the chat, I'm not going to say don't do it, but I'm going to really try. We're going to try to pull out the questions here. Steve will help me as well. And then super chats will still get answered first. So this is for everybody at this point. We understand there's a lot of people who can't do a super chat. We totally get that. So we want to answer everyone's questions. But if you do put in a super chat, we will make sure to get to that one right away. So as soon as Alex gets back here, we will start that. In the meantime, if you have any personal questions about me, what I like to do for fun, what restaurants I like to go to,
You prefer heel or baby face?
I find that it's an odd question because I feel like it doesn't matter. Like, I feel like you can't have a good story without both, right? So if you have a baby face you don't care about and a really good heel, it's only going to take you so far, or vice versa. So, but if I absolutely had to choose, I think it's much harder to be a really good baby face, so I respect that more. Like, that's why I think John Cena is the GOAT. Like, it's hard to pull off being a good baby face, right?
What?
We started talking about wrestling after you left.
Oh yeah. Being a heel was much easier, because as a babyface, your whole thing is you're the good guy, right? But it's like, how do you be interesting? Like, I don't want to be a good guy because the other guy's a bad guy.
Yep.
You know what I mean? It's like, I want to be unique in my own way. I don't want to come out and go, come on,
come on,
and like make the crowd clap. It's tough.
It's
like,
tough.
What makes you unique? Because as a heel, it's simple. You. Like, oh, you're ugly, your shirt's stupid, blah, blah, blah. You just insult people. But as a babyface, it's like, it's an art, man. It's an art. And yeah, John Cena's the GOAT.
Yeah, and also don't want to diminish though good heels. The problem with it is it's
Oh, yeah.
easier to be a heel, so many heels just fall into the void of being an okay heel. If you're an Eddie Guerrero heel or a Roddy Piper heel, that set yourself above
Ric Flair.
a Ric Flair, then that can be really obviously really good too. So don't want to diminish that. No one cares about wrestling though. We're here about Star Trek. So I'm gonna start with this super chat from Eddie. So if your question or chat is before this super chat, then we're starting here. So he says, not Star Trek related, but any interest in Twin Peaks?
Yes.
It was on a Patreon poll, our very first one when we had like 15 patrons of what show to watch, but it didn't win. Battlestar Galactica won, so we definitely do have interest in that for sure.
I do want to watch that, yes.
And then we have a super chat from Sparky who says, TAS in its time was assumed to be a kid's cartoon and was rarely, if ever, rerun. Yeah, that's what we figured.
Yeah, I mean, the Clone Wars was also like a kid's cartoon, and I watched that. I'm like, this is incredible. So, what are you gonna do?
And then we have another one from Sparky. He says Shatner's great and is extra dramatic as necessary.
Agreed.
Michael says, did you all see Galaxy Quest? Yes, it was our 2,000 subscriber special. Reaction to that is on the channel, and that was one of our first posts on our Patreon, our full and cut reaction to Galaxy Quest.
One of our highest viewed videos too.
Yeah, did well.
Did really well.
I want to be slightly critical. It's not really critical of you guys. It's just I think it's a little unfortunate you guys watched that as early as you did because it packs way more punch. More Star Trek you see, it gets funnier.
Yeah, I agree, but the subs chose it, man. So it is what it is. What it is,
We're men of the people.
All right, so let's start with try to find, and if you find any as well, you just want to pick out here. Just any questions. Let's see. Do you guys have a PO box? Yes, I talked about that earlier. We don't yet. As soon as I'm not too lazy, but yeah, we're in the works to get that opened up, and then we'll post that once it's open for fan mail, and then it'll be in the description of our videos. So,
from Scorpius Bob, as being Star Wars fans, how is it for you to watch and enjoy Star Trek? At first, it was weird. I grew up with the stigma of not, being into Star Trek because I thought it was like a versus thing. I was like, I'm not into that, not even knowing what it was. But now, just seeing what Star Wars is now, and it makes it a lot easier. Yeah. For sure.
I'm a much more casual Star Wars fan than Alex, so it didn't really matter to me. But if you watch our first season reactions, I think you can see Alex literally transition in real time as the episodes go on.
Oh yeah, you can literally watch, my heart and my enjoyment, my soul of just die. It was great. It's literally captured on camera. It's great. Go watch Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, all that.
Oh, well, that too, but I'm talking about even just the first season of Star Trek. Like, you can start to be like, I'm a Star Wars fan. What's this like? And then more and more be like, I think I like this more than Star Wars. Like, transitioning.
I even made a comment like that. Like, yeah.
Yeah. This isn't a question. I just think this is funny when he says, Webb says, pull the green screen aside to reveal we're in a bathroom.
We're in the Saw bathroom.
Yeah, we're in the Saw bathroom. Let's see here. And I'm sorry if I miss any of these. We can obviously we can post them again if we don't get to them. Let's see. Have you seen the second pilot alternate opening? No, we haven't seen anything besides what we've posted on the channel for the most part.
Somebody did ask, what do you guys think of Q so far?
Love him.
Yeah, let's not get too much into it, but yeah. Go ahead.
John Delancey, that's his name, right? Is that his name, Steve? John Delancey?
Yeah, that's actually I was going to ask about that because I think it was you made a reference to Breaking Bad. You've seen Breaking Bad, right?
Yeah.
I haven't. He has.
That's Jane's dad.
Oh my god. I haven't watched Breaking Bad in years. I mean, we watched like the first
episode
together, but
it's in the bucket.
It's in the bucket. Yeah, but it took me back to Squire Agathos, and I know through
Red
Letter Media that he does return at some point. So yeah, he's just like the perfect contrast to Picard. I can't wait to see more.
Check out our reaction next week for our full thoughts on that. And speaking of that, Anthony asked, general question about TNG. Are you going to do a discussion of what you knew about TNG before? Yes, in our first reaction, we talk before the reaction. So we changed the format a little bit. it's a win-win. If you love just to come and watch our reactions and don't care about what we say, our reactions are still there for you to watch and then leave afterwards with time codes. If you do like and enjoy us talking about Star Trek 2, we're doing a lot more of that in these reactions. So we have a full discussion before the episode where we talk about what we already knew and our expectations. So you can look out for that in the first episode. What restaurants do you like to go to?
This is local one you don't know, but in terms of popular chains,
The local brew.
drink the local brew. Oh, jeez, I don't know. Can't.
I just like going to like a really nice steakhouse.
Yeah, we have another local steakhouse. Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah, nice steakhouse. I also like Italian food. We have some pretty good Italian restaurants, but we're in Ohio, we don't have we're not New York or anything, so we're probably missing out on a lot. As far as chains though, my favorite chain,
Arby's.
Mr. Beast.
that's why can I not even think of a single one?
I'll answer from my high school, Alex. Denny's.
Denny's.
Yeah, those build your own chicken wraps or whatever.
Speaking of breakfast, First Watch is kind of a chain. That's a good breakfast place.
That is. Scrambler Marie's. I don't know how big that is. That's one of my favorite breakfast places.
If you're in the mood for just like this is okay, I think Olive Garden's all right. If you're just like this is okay,
This is something to eat.
All right. Let's see here.
Well, I got one.
Go ahead.
Psychosis Media asks, are you guys going to do a deep dive into Babylon 5?
Well, I think Babylon 5. Go ahead.
We have another question here. No.
The pilot was obviously very weak, which people who are fans of the show even told us that. I don't think that's controversial. So we didn't. I thought it was fine, but
Just for practical effects, I'm like, this is awesome. The suits,
Oh,
the
yeah.
costumes, just by that, I'm like, this is great.
but it was a bit weak. I just don't want to watch like two space shows at the same time. Like if we get to a spot where we're like taking a break from Star Trek or maybe far in the future or whatever, we can start watching other stuff like that. It's in the bucket, but I don't want to watch, especially on the YouTube channel, like a second sci-fi, space show.
Yeah, and it's like, like my favorite filmmaker alive right now just released a new show, and like I'm like, oh god, I gotta watch this show. It's my favorite filmmaker, Flanagan. How
Yeah.
Full House Usher. I'm like shit, like I gotta watch this show. It's like maybe because I just started a new job, so and other stuff. It's like everything. It's like I just feel pressure. Like The Boys just released a spinoff. Loki's out. I'm like, this is stuff I want to watch. I'm just like overwhelmed because it's like no time.
Yeah, and
It's 5:40. No time.
And for me, outside of Flanagan, like I'm obviously watching his new show. You guys know we love him. And outside of his new show, I've kind of given up on TV. Like I spend all my free time outside of the channel watching movies, new release movies and anything else, because those 90 minutes to 2 hours or whatever, and then you're done. Like I did actually though real quick watch Yellow Jackets. There's 2 seasons of it. It's on Showtime. I have it on Paramount Plus. Really enjoyed that. It was a good one for a current show.
Gotcha. As you know, I'm big fans of Red Letter Media, and they just did an episode about an actor named Kyle Gallner, and they reviewed 3 of his movies, and I actually rented all 3, and I watched them because I'm tired of this scrolling, looking for something. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go off a recommendation from my favorite YouTube channel, and I really enjoyed all 3 movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm tired of like scrolling through garbage on Netflix or wherever. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna rent. I'm gonna bite the bullet and rent.
Yeah, that was a question about Babylon 5. All right, so Tristan Rose asked, when is the next Star Trek reaction? In jest, he's asking that with the laughing emojis. Tuesday. So the pilot reaction will be up Tuesday. Sunday we have a nice discussion of The Shining coming that you can watch along with us. It was not our first time watching it, but that's on our Patreon, and the discussion will come Sunday, and then we're off to the races with TNG starting on Tuesday. So watch out for that. Michael, he said, just watch your Battlestar Galactica reactions a few weeks back. I'm a patron. Thank you, Michael. And I wonder if you realized that John D. Lance was featured in an episode. What episode was that? Do you know,
What?
Steve?
Episode of what?
Of BSG, of Battlestar Galactica? Did you watch that with us? I don't even know. I've never asked you.
Oh, man. I don't recall where he is actually.
Or maybe Michael, if you're still here, let us know what episode.
I might have to turn in my nerd card here.
Was he in the episode with the Tin Man? I mean, the Scarecrow?
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
I
Hold
know.
on. Did you read that one from Analog Mind?
This is the super chat?
Yeah.
No, go ahead and read the super chat from Analog Mind.
From Analog Mind. Star Trek continues has great set design, mid scripts, and terrible acting. Come at me, Euronymous Patags. I don't know what that means, but that's my guy right there.
You've never even seen the show.
But he said it has mid scripts and terrible acting. So.
That's hilarious.
But I have seen stills and a couple clips from Star Trek Continues, and it looks impressive, as if it was from, that time.
I like Eddie responded to him. Wrong. I'm imagining the Trump. Wrong. Let's see here. Have you seen Shatner in any of his Twilight Zone episodes? I have seen the airplane one.
I've seen the airplane one, yeah.
I think he was in one other one though that I don't think I've seen.
Oh shit. Was he in the one at the diner? Was that him?
I'm not gonna be able to remember off the top of my head. Are you talking about the one with the machine?
Yeah.
I don't think that was him, but maybe.
I can't remember.
Okay. Here's another super chat, so I'll read this one first from Michael. I wish y'all had made it to the Star Trek The Experience in Vegas. You could get beamed onto the Enterprise D at the bar and order a wrap of con. That sounds awesome.
A wrap of con.
We've had a few people ask us about going to conventions. I've always been scared because of spoilers. Like, I don't want to show up and people are, more versed than us and we, you know what I mean? Cosplay of spoilers. I don't.
Someone just has a shirt with TNG season 5 episode. Ah!
Yeah, so I've always been hesitant, but who knows? Maybe next summer or something, if we're a bit larger as a channel and that's something we can afford. I mean, that'd be really fun.
I would love to, yeah.
Yeah. I've never been to anything like that except for the local one we have here, which is a Comic-Con, but obviously not Star Trek focused, but that's the only thing I've ever been to. Let's see.
How about where was that one from Eric Anderson? It was a bit of.
Oh, these people are saying you're correct. It was in a diner, the fortune-telling machine. That was William Shatner.
Oh wow! Look at that. Cool.
I could be wrong, but I think that's the first episode of Twilight Zone I ever watched.
Really?
Yeah, and I think it takes place in Ohio too. I think they randomly Rod Serling in the episode's like in this town in Ohio, and I was like, ooh, as a kid.
Oh, that's cool.
I'm trying to scroll back up here, see if I missed any.
Isn't there a slow button on the chat? Like, to slow it down?
I don't even think we need to slow it down. I reached the end. I'm just trying to see if I know there's ones I didn't hit.
Oh, that one from Web. Did we just miss?
Oh, here we go. Do we miss this?
Yeah.
All right, super chat from Web. Go ahead.
From Webb, do you, like me, think Nurse Chapel never got enough love from TOS? Should be considered main cast, but just never got her spot in the poster. I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah, there's just unfortunately too many people for everyone to get involved.
Yeah. I don't know. Would it turn into her and, like, Bones one scene an episode having a bickering argument about something? Would that get redundant, overdone? I don't know. I'm sure they can do something with her. Like,
I like the whole storyline of her and Spock. The love story that we saw a little bit more of in TAS in the Harry Mudd episode, but nothing touched on it in the movies. So,
oh well.
Have you seen Fanboys? I think I'm familiar with it. You've seen it?
Yes, I've seen Fanboys. Yeah, I love Fanboys.
It's like a Star Wars thing.
Yeah, and that was one of my first introductions into Star Trek, or like stigma of like Star Trek versus Star Wars.
Oh, that's in there.
Yeah, where Seth Rogen plays like a Star Trek fan. Like, with like buck teeth and shit.
Oh, I've never seen it. So.
And there's a cameo that's a pretty crazy cameo.
Okay. You don't want to spoil it?
Do you want me to tell you?
No, I mean, I might watch it. All right, so the cameo. Yeah, no, I got you. Oh, here we go. Private Little War question. That's one of your favorite episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Do you consider the ending of A Private Little War to be an anti-Star Trek or a quintessentially Star Trek? Silly question. Discuss with the. All right, well, we couldn't figure it out. We gotta go.
Anti Star Trek in the sense of there's not really like a happy solution, right?
I mean, yeah, they don't fix anything and they just leave.
Yeah, so that's a fascinating ending.
They actively make it worse. You could argue.
Yeah, it's like it's a lesson in the terms of they didn't win, but a lesson of like, oh my god, what did we do? You know, it's like I think that's fascinating. Like not everything needs to be, you know, Kirk gets away with the girl or the crew is on the bridge. Ha ha! Oh, Spock, you're such not a human. Oh my god, you know what I mean? It's like I love that whole like that's similar to the City on the Edge of Forever ending where it's like, oh god, you know what I mean? So refreshing. It's like similar to I don't know.
Sometimes things just don't go the way you want.
Yeah, it's like
You
that's
know?
life. That's life.
Yeah. We got one from Witcher Joker here, one of our moderators. He says, "What has been your favorite interaction with the community so far?" Probably fighting for our life in the comments, but I really did like making that Wrath of Khan response video. I love doing stuff like that.
Yeah, that was fun. Just like seeing the, you know, every when I see the videos get uploaded, I'm like, ooh, I click on them and I scroll through the comments. I'm like, most of the time, I'm like, oh yeah. Then for the Wrath of Khan discussion, I'm like, oh my god, what have we done? Same thing when I accidentally called DC Fontana a man because
Yeah,
I didn't know.
because that was her goal in changing her name at the time. You know.
Yeah, it's like I just assumed, and I'm like, so that stuff is fun, but it's also like, oh shit.
And I love the post we did for that too, where it was like with your jacket, like he was spotted after this. Yeah, love stuff like
that makes it fun. Yeah.
And also, I just hope the community understands. I think most people who are actual fans of us and aren't like trolls or like people who just this is their first video so they don't get it. Like people that are actually fans of us, when they see that stuff, they know that we're not like, the joke's not on you. Like we're all laughing together. You know what I mean? And we love laughing at ourselves too. So it's like that's I think the response video for Wrathcon actually went pretty well and people responded to that pretty positively because like we like that back and forth, you know what I mean? So we got another super chat here from Michael who says Star Trek The Experience was the Star Trek theme park, not a convention. Oh, okay. It was in the Hilton. It had a museum and ride and restaurant ride. So did it close, I'm assuming then?
Oh shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad.
There was actually a point where they were going to build a full-size Enterprise hotel in Las Vegas.
Oh wow.
Like, straight up, the Enterprise just parked in Las Vegas.
Oh, that's so cool.
Like,
I could not afford that.
We got one here that says a question about what is the best phaser and communicator designs from TOS in the first 4 movies.
Oh jeez.
I mean the classic. I think both for both just the classic communicator and phaser.
Yeah, this is one of like I'm not gonna Google like I'm not about to Google and do a side by side comparison right now. So I'm gonna have to go with classic. Sorry, James.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about the different variations. Steve, you might know more, but I just like I don't like the Type 2 or whatever that just looks like a button that they sometimes use in TOS. Like that one's fine, but I like the classic phaser.
yeah, I'm a sucker for the Star Trek 3 redesign because it's very close to the classic, but it looks like a 80s redesign of the original. That's my personal favorite. It looks like a phaser.
Yeah.
It's just a phaser. It's not.
Eric says, which non-main character would you like to have seen more of in TOS? Uhura for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Uhura.
I mean,
yeah, she deserved more. Maybe Sulu too.
So yeah, but I would probably lean more Uhura though. I mean, Sulu got to be involved, especially in season 3. You got some beaming down and stuff. I mean, Uhura's just in the chair like 80% of the show.
Yeah, like she's been there the entire time. She deserves more.
Yeah, cool that we got to see some of it in the movies. Do you rewatch TOS episodes, and if so, which ones do you rewatch the most? I don't like actively. I have.
Yeah, I've rewatched some for discussions and stuff like that, and sometimes if I'm just looking for like something that I've seen before that's on in the background, I'll throw one on. But like also like one of those where it's like I don't want the magic ruined for me. You know what I mean? Like I want that special place. When I watched it, like I don't want to. I know some people love rewatching stuff, but like even my favorite movies sometimes, where I'm like I can't rewatch this because the more I do, the more the magic gets sucked out of it. It sucks.
Yeah. I've rewatched The Enemy Within the most, I think. I've definitely watched that one a few times. I'm Captain Kirk! Just a great episode. Um, let's see here. With your Joker, do you think you'll eventually buy any Star Trek props or additional uniforms? Yeah, I'm sure we will. For the channel or otherwise, I'm sure we will.
Like, okay. Oh,
You already got
props.
the uniforms.
Yeah. Thank you, Amazon.
I'll get some TNG onesie pajamas to wear to bed. This guy says, as a pushy commenter, okay, Bryce, thank you for admitting it. As a pushy commenter, my favorite moment was forcing you to pronounce Requiem for Methuselah correctly. Yeah, if you missed it in our live, because we were both butchering it so badly, we had the chat like walk us through. I still don't know. Requiem for Methuselah?
Requiem for Methuselah.
Requiem for Methuselah?
Requiem for a Dream.
Requiem for a Dream? You got any?
That's one of the most depressing movies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, same here. That's a one and done. Can't watch that again.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Columbus Blue Jacket fans? No, not a hockey fan, unfortunately.
We're not from Columbus. I just might wrestle there. My name is Walter Hartwell. I live at 507 Royal.
I'm a Browns fan. That's really, as far as sports, I would say my only like diehard fandom. Cavs I like. They won us a championship, so good for them. I appreciate that. Cleveland, this is for you.
I am forever in debt to LeBron James, despite not me being a big sports fan. But that was a great moment.
Yep. I also like Shark Tank. Not related, but
Mr. Wonderful.
Okay. Eddie says, what sci-fi stuff did you watch before your reaction channel? Anything that you guys really like? And he says all panel questions, so you too, Steve.
Star Wars, mainly. I was always into Star Wars, and like I kind of stopped, and then like I had a rebuttal with the Clone Wars and Rebels. Always loved the prequels. I know all their flaws, but I grew up on them. But in terms of like other sci-fi stuff beyond that, not much, really. I'm trying to think.
Starship Troopers, RoboCop,
Oh, yeah.
Terminator.
Yeah, I'm thinking of Fran. Yeah, I love Total Recall. That's one of my favorite sci-fi movies ever. I've been trying to get this guy to watch it forever.
I'd rather watch it for the channel. Watch it together and discuss it.
Yes, that'd be fantastic. But yeah, RoboCop, Starship Troopers, all those, kind of not parody, but like commentary type movies where it's like, what's the word I'm looking for? So someone's gonna say the
like
word.
Social commentary.
Social commentary type movies.
As far as sci-fi, I didn't watch anything really on TV unless you would count like Black Mirror. Would be like a modern one. Obviously, Twilight Zone. I love Twilight Zone. I own the whole series. I just really loved like also like 80s to 2000s anthology horror or sci. So that's not really sci-fi, but kind of the same. Anything from like the more popular ones, like for there's the kids ones like Are You Afraid of the Dark, Goosebumps. I watched those as a kid, and then as I grew up, Twilight Zone, Amazing Stories, Tales from the Crypt. Also the more obscure ones like Freddy's Nightmares, Night Visions,
Beyond Belief,
and of course Beyond Belief is my favorite show of all time. So,
It's fake. It didn't happen. We made it up.
it's a fabrication.
This happened in New Jersey sometime in the late 1800s. Let's see here.
Those clips on TikTok always make me laugh. It's the compilation of Jonathan Frakes telling you it's not real.
Yeah. Okay. Have you guys watched any of the Dune movies or read the books? I wish I read books. I wish I had time
I think
for
there's
that.
another question right below that.
Alex hated the new one. Denis Villeneuve is one of my favorite directors, directed my favorite movie of all time, Arrival. Dune Part 1 did not hit for me, and I unfortunately have not seen the 80s. Did it come out in the 80s? The 80s version?
Yeah, I enjoyed the original Dune, directed by David Lynch. I enjoyed that one. The first Dune movie was ruined as soon as the opening credits ended with Part 1, when it wasn't advertised as a Part 1. It's
All set up.
It's like, oh no.
And then the movie starts and the credits hit.
Yeah, it's like when it opens with like a part one, you already know you're not going to get a satisfying conclusion,
Yeah.
and that's exactly what happened. Crazy.
And to get such a wooden performance from Oscar Isaac, I've never seen that happen before. I'm baffled. I'm sure a lot of people love
Katie's
it.
doing
Though.
all
Yeah.
Yeah, I want Denis Villeneuve, is how you say his name?
Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. I want him to do what I want, not what he wants. Okay? It's like, oh, Doom was a passion project for him. I don't care. Do what I want. Do another Prisoners.
Yeah, make another Prisoners.
Do
What are you
another
doing?
Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah. Well, no one saw that either. So.
Well, I did.
And we loved that.
And a million of mentally ill teenagers on TikTok that make edits every day that I love.
Here's one from Elliot. As someone who remembers when you reached 200 subs, it has been great to rewatch Star Trek with you through your fresh eyes. Thank you.
Oh, wow.
Love hearing that.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot. I'm glad you're still here. I always wonder. I mean, we have the few people that we know that we remember, but like, I always wonder would that carry over? How many of those people are still here? So nice to see that. Okay. Tales from the Dark Side. Yes, thank you, Shane. That's another great one. I loved Tales from the Dark Side. One of the best intros too, where it all goes black and white. I love that one.
Did you do the 90s Outer Limits?
I watched a few, couldn't quite get into that one as much. I know that people say the original one's better, but I watched a few of the 90s one, but it just wasn't on TV as much. I feel like on the Sci-Fi Channel and stuff as the other one. So I didn't get to expose to it as much, and like the episodes I did see were just like kind of weird. Like one was about like a boogeyman monster that lived in a cave or something. It was like I don't know if I saw the best of what that show had to offer. All right, I think we're probably going to wrap it up here soon, guys. If you want to throw any last questions in there that we didn't get to, I think we've gotten all the super chats done, so that's good. Yeah, we'll just try to filler here for a couple more minutes while we finish up. But yeah, thanks for everyone who's here.
Mods, I want you to ban Eddie from Outer Space for saying Blade Runner 2049 is not great.
Oh damn it, he's done like 10 super chats.
Well, guess what?
You're done.
Well, guess what? I don't know.
Okay, so thanks for the donation. You're banned.
You're banned.
Okay.
You get what you pay for.
Amazing Stories. Yeah, that was one I named. Loved Amazing Stories. Another super chat here. Watch the Spice Diver cut of the 1984 Dune. It's like 3 hours long. Okay, maybe if next time I'm on a flight, I'll check that out.
Yeah, Josh recently sent me a screenshot of this the runtime for
What's it called? Killers of the Flower Moon, the new Leo and Scorsese movie.
The new Scorsese movie, and Scorsese directed one of my favorite movies of all time, a few of them, and he just keeps pushing it, man. Just keeps pushing it. It's like, oh, people watch TV for hours. No, I don't. I watch
an episode a night.
I watch an episode a night. It's like I don't.
Maybe two.
Yeah, maybe like it's like after that first episode, I'm like, I'm done. You know, it's I gotta go to bed. It's like.
we got Witcher Joker. Can you imagine at this time ever liking one of the later shows more than TOS? It's hard to imagine. The bar is super high. I mean,
the way TNG has its own thing beyond TOS is what's keeping my hopes up. I don't think Star Trek Discovery is going to be that show, from what I hear, but maybe the next generation.
I mean, I'll just say, regardless of whoever end up saying another one is our favorite, TOS will always have a special place.
Oh yeah, that's where it started.
And then we have.
Have you guys ever seen Wayne's World?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Wayne talks about Star Trek Next Generation in a moment of that.
Oh, he does?
Movie. He's like, it's much like Star Trek The Next Generation. In many ways, it's superior to the original, but in fact will never be nearly as well appreciated.
That's funny.
I'm gonna have to rewatch that one.
You know, there's some truth to that, I think.
Good point.
Every show is different.
Griff 3000 says, "Do you realize you guys are awesome and shouldn't worry about people nagging in comments because they're not trying to be mean?" I'm not sure if they mean people in the comments aren't trying to be mean, because some of them definitely are.
Oh yeah, some
But
of them are out for blood.
but or if they mean we're not trying to be mean to the show, which we're not, unless there's sometimes we truly don't like some things. But yeah, appreciate that you say we're awesome, thank you. But it's like the classic social media thing, 1,000 positive comments, then you see one negative one, and it
Ruins your whole day.
slices you. But you got to get through it. It is what it is, part of the job description. This isn't a job, but it's part of the description.
Hopefully one day it will.
Someone keeps asking to ask you, Steve, if you know what's really funny. I'm guessing that's a future reference.
No, that's an in joke, and he just needs to stop.
Oh, James? Okay.
Okay.
Jim is a lifelong friend. He's being a goof.
Nice. Okay. Katie says show, not shoe. Oh, I think it was a typo. Okay. I was like, what does that mean? Sliders is a great sci-fi series, not a space show, but great early 90s science fiction. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. I have never seen that or encountered Sliders.
I always think of the Captain America meme from the Winter Soldier. I'll add it to the list.
It's in the bucket.
Yeah, it's in the bucket.
Did you ever watch Third Rock from the Sun? Yes, I haven't watched it the whole way through, but I did watch that in my childhood, and I revisited it a couple of times growing up. Again, not watching the whole thing, but I think it's a funny show. I enjoy it for what it is. I mean, it's a sitcom. Have you ever seen that with John Lithgow and?
No, I only know of it because of the Saturday Night Live Celebrity Jeopardy, where I think Jimmy Fallon was acting as French Stewart, and from Third Rock from the Sun, French Stewart. No, that's the only thing I know about it.
Okay. Okay, Michael followed up about the John D. Lancey. He was an experiment in Terra. He was a cop on Terra with a helmet on. Okay.
But he talked for a full minute. Oh, how did I not pick that up? A full minute.
That's when they were on that Earth-like planet.
Okay.
Good episode.
Like Superman, when he puts the glasses on, you can't recognize him.
Yeah, plus we weren't really too familiar with him at that point. But what are you going to do? Maybe we'll do a second. Nah, I don't want to watch that show again.
All right, guys. I think we're gonna wrap it up there. I'm just doing one quick check. I think we did get all the super chats, and we answered as many as we could. This is on the channel, at least the last time for a little while. We're gonna be talking about TOS at all or anything like that. But Star Trek V will be coming, in the late second season of TNG, so it will be sometime, in 2024. Same thing for 6. Once we get to that, eventually that'll be a little bit longer, but. For everyone who's joined us here on the not just this live, but the whole journey with us, we really appreciate it. And if you're new here, if you found our channel through this stream, reactions to every single episode of Star Trek TOS, TAS, and the first 4 movies. Go check them out.
I want to thank Steve for being on with us.
Alex, Josh, it's been a pleasure.
It's been great. Been a great host, moderator, not third wheel, but third.
Yeah, he's a good host. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it, because we would have just rambled the whole time.
Oh yeah, you definitely got. Yeah, it's like him and I will just go off on a tangent. Not even
we did it a few times to you.
like a politician. We'll get a question. We'll just go off on something else.
Yeah, we'll get a question. Interesting. So anyway. Yeah, for sure. And then last thing, if you guys just want to put in the chat before we leave here, let us know in terms of these live streams, if there's anything else, any other things Star Trek related or otherwise. If you want to see more lives, we like doing live stuff. This is the first time we've ever done it in person together, but we just don't know what to do or what you guys would be interested in. So if that's something you guys would like to see too, maybe a monthly wrap up of stuff or whatever, just let us know if that's ever something you guys want. I know everyone always says watch the episodes live. That's just a lot of technical work. It's tougher to do that. We do like doing it when we're able to, but yeah, just let us know. Steve, you got any last words for anything?
Hey, I just want to say thanks to everybody who showed up tonight. It's not a negative slam against the target audience channel or anything. I just wasn't expecting to see as many people, as many super chats, as much interaction as there was tonight. So that's awesome. I love this audience, and yeah, it's been great.
Cool. All right. If you missed some. If you just came in here 5 minutes ago or whatever, this whole thing will be up in the coming days over the weekend, the Q&A portion and the general discussion. So you can check it all out in full, this whole 3+ hours we've done. But yeah, anything else, Alex?
Still got to think of an outro, but nope, that's it. Thank you guys so much.